Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and all members are present. And we'll start by using the land acknowledgement. Municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Boswell, and Georgina First Nations. And we thank these nations for their care and stewardship as they pass through their lands and our lands. Okay, have a resolution to adopt the agenda, please.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dysart et al., held on August 26, 2025, be approved as presented.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature? Being none, adoption of the minutes.
Be it resolved that Council approves the following meeting minutes as circulated: regular Council July 22nd and public meeting July 22nd.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any address from the deputy mayor from the county?
Not right now, Murray.
Okay. Okay, so a resolution to go into the public meeting.
Be it resolved that Council adjourns the regular meeting of Council at 9:02 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment files D14 ZB 2024-012, lands of Pop and Art, D14 ZB 2025-004, lands of Anderson, and D14 ZB 2025-010, lands of Jones and Bennett Jones.
Okay, mover and seconder. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so it's like a long thing, but we have to read it every time. So the public meeting, good morning and welcome. The public meeting for August the 26th will now commence. And notice to all those in attendance that this meeting will be live streamed on YouTube and recorded. Please note that the recording will be linked to the municipal website. The purpose of the public meeting is to present planning applications in a planning forum as required by the Planning Act. This is a public meeting to consider 3 proposed zoning amendments to the Dysart et al. Zoning bylaw 2005-120. It is council's responsibility to consider all information received to date regarding the applications and to hear and consider any views you may have about these applications. Every person present or registered will have the opportunity to ask questions about the proposals and voice their opinion regarding the same. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking, and each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comment or ask questions. Please direct all your questions to the chair, and please restrict your comments to planning matters only. After this public meeting is over, council will make a recommendation as to whether or not the proposed zoning amendment should be passed. Council's recommendations will then be considered during the regular meeting of council. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who given the municipality written notice that they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy, and you must make this request in writing. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the municipality to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but that person public today does not make any submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of Dysart in respect to the proposed amendment of the zoning bylaw before the municipality gives or refuses to give approval of the amendment to the zoning bylaw. The person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality and to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a person to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. Okay, the first application then is on the agenda is D14ZB, lands of Pop and Art.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. I'll take this one. Morning, everyone. This application was first presented to council at their public meeting on January 28th, 2025. The purpose of the application is to rezone the subject lands from rural type 1 to rural type 1 exception zone to permit the use of a kennel. During that meeting, staff recommended including provisions to define the kennel's location, capacity, and mitigate potential impacts on the adjacent properties by applying appropriate setbacks, which are set out in the attached draft zoning bylaw. At the time of the January meeting, the neighboring property owners to the east, the Atkinsons, provided comments and raised several concerns, including potential noise impacts, proximity to the kennel, to their residents and other nearby developable lots, possible disruptions disruptions to local wildlife, and concerns about the accuracy of the applicant's information and potential contraventions of the municipal noise bylaw. Since then, the Atkinsons have provided additional written comments, which are attached to this report for council's consideration. I believe the Atkinsons are also in attendance and will summarize their comments and concerns for council. During the January public meeting, council deferred the application to allow the applicant time to retain a noise consultant and assess the potential impacts of the kennel. The applicant has since submitted the noise abatement survey that examined the separation distance between the proposed kennel and surrounding residences, and potential sound propagation across the landscape. The report was peer reviewed to evaluate the methodology and findings. The peer review had concerns with the presented sound propagation information, which underrepresented the sound emissions of dogs barking significantly. However, they had, or they would note that it is a conservative assessment of the sound propagation with only diversion attenuation considerations. At the same time, it also explained that the approach taken was conservative because it assumed sound only reduces as it spreads out and did not include other factors like barriers, vegetation, ground absorption, which would further reduce sound. The peer review concluded that council should decide whether they wish to use a setback approach to the noise compatibility or a technical analysis approach, which would be sound level predictions, etc. While kennels are not explicitly listed in the permitted use in the rural zone, they are generally considered compatible with rural and agricultural land uses. Kennels are excluded as the standard permitted use in the municipal zoning bylaw, so that council has the opportunity to review applications on a case-by-case basis and impose site-specific conditions and mitigation measures where necessary. The proposed bylaw amendment currently uses a setback model approach, which is a blended model similar to many municipalities in Ontario by setting a minimum setback to neighboring dwellings and to all lot lines. For example, in the experience of the peer reviewer, and based on the understanding of examples in Ontario, setback distance for kennels from dwellings can range from municipality to municipality as low as 50 meters to as high as 300 meters. A publicly available planning review by the Greater Sudbury outlined that average setbacks in townships in Ontario was approximately 185 meters. The mode, which is the most common setback, was 300 meters, and the medium setback was 150 meters. These are setbacks from kennels to the closest dwelling. As noted for this application, the setback here is 242 meters from the kennel building and 230 meters from the outdoor run to the nearest existing dwelling. The proposal will also be subject to site plan control, which will implement requirements and mitigation measures as imposed by council and through the site plan process. As required under the Planning Act, notices were circulated on January 7th, 2025 to the property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands and to appropriate agencies. A notice was also published in the local newspaper on January 7th. Public comments received have been summarized in the report. Additional comments were attached for council's consideration, and those wishing to be involved through the process were also notified of this meeting today. Based on the information available, staff recommended that council approve the application and that the proposal be subject to site plan control. As noted, site plan control would be used to implement noise mitigation measures, a noise complaint response plan, along with any additional measures required through the site plan process and imposed by council. And just some matters of for council's directions for staff. If approved, staff are seeking council's direction on 4 specific items: whether the applicant shall update their report to address peer review comments, or consider whether the setback distance, so that the model that's being used right now with the setback distance between dwelling and the lot lines is acceptable, as it exceeds the medium and average setbacks through province averages. Require the dog runs to have noise barrier walls constructed appropriately to block noise, typically airtight with sufficient face weight to act as a noise barrier. This would be imposed for the east side of the kennel facing the neighboring property owners, and excuse me, and along the frontage facing Carroll Road. Also requiring the owner to of the kennel to develop a noise complaint response plan and provide contact methods for the neighboring owners such that noise issues can be addressed quickly and directly, and whether council would like to impose an audit condition which requires confirmation of noise levels after construction is completed. I believe the owner is in attendance, Monique, to speak to her proposal, as well as the neighboring property owners, the Atkinsons, are also present and can speak to their comments and concerns as well.
Thanks, Chris. The applicant, you want to come up here and?
Good morning, everyone. Wanted to, in response to the noise and how I would tackle that, I was planning to do a business card of such with a phone number, obviously my direct line, where I can be reached 24/7. If there's any emergencies, that would include any kind of noise that anybody could possibly be hearing. And that would go directly to me, rain or shine, I'll be answering it. And hopefully we can deal with the noise complaint as is and perhaps put in some new mitigations if it's a consistent thing. Otherwise, they'll have to call bylaw. But that is my process for dealing with any noise complaints that could be brought forward to me in the future.
Any questions from council? No, sure good then.
Okay.
Thank you. Now the meeting will be open for public comments. Anyone else have something to say? Yes? That's looks like a lot of paper. You got 5 minutes.
I know. That last time.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I'm going to talk quickly, and my name is Ross Atkinson, and Jane's here with a neighboring property. The municipality retained Cambian, who basically said that Agri-Drone's report was technically unsupported. These words are kind. The report is a disaster. Agri-Drone has no experience in noise whatsoever. I have to be blunt because at the time, but will destroy that report. It's absolutely brutal. And I think I think Cambrian's being very kind. However, Cambrian did note that the sound level that would be achieved at our household of 32.4 would be increased to 51.4 based on Cambrian, your consultants, peer review. So that means it's a 50% error from Agri-Drone No, it isn't actually. What are the daytime noise levels? Do you know? 45 decibels. Okay, so the one problem is it's great that you guys did want to get a survey done. We greatly appreciated that. The problem was this survey is absolutely terrible. And I would like to ask how they came up with that company, because it has never probably ever done a report. So Cambrian assessed 51.4. They based that on 80 decibel dog bark. Dogs will bark at 100 decibels or more at times. They based it on one dog. This is a kennel of 37 dogs with an outside yard. More dogs could be barking than one, so you might have 5, 10 dogs barking. As I mentioned, Cambian identified the outdoor sound level at 45 decibels in the day and 40 at night in a rural area. We agree 100% with that. No, it says rural right in the report. So if the kennel generates a noise of 51, then already we're over that number. Another thing is that the kicker here is that for kennel operations, there is under Ontario's NPC 104 ruling, there's a 10 decibel penalty because this is called a quasi-steady noise, meaning it's not like a fan blowing all the time. It's dogs barking. It's like a pulsing sound. So the 10 decibel penalty. So that would put that number up to 61.5 versus the 45. So we actually identified this to Chris, and there's a study. Our consultants identified this and then said there's a Sudbury example where the consultant, RWDI, very good consultant, identified this, and Sudbury Planning denied an application for a kennel advancement. I can see you looking at your watch, so
I am.
this is negative, and I'm afraid it is, but I've got a very positive solution here for you.
Okay.
Okay, can I read
Yes,
this?
you read that if you got a minute or two.
Okay. Everyone, including us, has been focused on the proposed location of the kennel, wholly related to the existence of partially constructed non-conforming steel shell building of about 800 square feet located almost as close to our property as it can be. A brand new steel building on the shell and size and shape is probably about $20,000 to $40,000. In fact, the applicant could dismantle and rebuild the existing building elsewhere on their property for less than $10,000. These numbers would be less when you account for tax advantages, depreciation, and the cost of loans, etc. So this is very small on the grand scheme of things. This kennel is going to be relatively expensive to build, a 37 room place. They've got HVAC, plumbing, waste management, padding, insulation, client receiving. So on a business, and I don't know if these guys have done a business plan, but they're going to make, I don't know, 300,000 a year to 600,000 a year. We are vastly overestimating the value of this little building that's causing a problem.
Okay, so your suggestion is to move the building.
Right?
Just-
Can I finish? Because I
Oh,
think
hurry up.
yeah,
You're
well,
way
I'm-
over
I'm
your
just
time.
about there. We are quite sure that there's an extremely high likelihood the kennel will emit adverse noise, for sure. Based on the size and width of the applicant's property, we are quite sure there's a good location that will work on their property. We're not arguing that. We said that in the first place. A professional study we've offered to pay for. Jane and I will pay for a study that will determine whether there's a better spot for the kennel. In fact,
Okay.
we would go with the municipality and the applicant, work together,
I understand that.
and it won't be us doing the study, it'll be us paying for it.
Okay,
And it would be a joint project with the objective of siting the kennel properly. And if the site is the building that you'd like, we would agree. We can't disagree, right? So, but we do believe there's a good site
I
there.
think you've made your point, sir. That's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a really good option, and it's,
Fair enough.
appreciate you listening.
Yeah, you've made your point for sure. Any member of council have any questions? So this concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. Yes,
Like, needless to say, this is something that's just been introduced to us all, right? This new plan for placing the kennel on a different piece of, part of the plot. I'm just wondering if council is interested in maybe even doing a site visit or something to see what is really happening there. How much? Sorry?
Well, I think that's in the staff.
I kind of to go on top of that too, Walt, I'd like to see, like the applicants, maybe what you've heard that he'd like to see it move, that can we ask them?
Well, I don't know that that's appropriate to ask them just on the spur of the moment there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you had any thoughts, Moon,
We have to like flow from him, and that sounds like it's his nature and all that he's
Right.
bringing about that would really affect.
On upward grade, it's all that.
He's worried about the nature running away.
100%, you gotta see a lot.
If he's worried about the nature and everything that was his issues earlier was that we're gonna scare off nature, parking and all that. Demoing an entire property and putting dynamite in the ground, probably a lot, probably destroy natural habitat and environment and everything else. So I don't really see how just destroying a building and put up one elsewhere, bringing down.
Okay.
Great.
So it's elevated, the new. How far away could you move that building potential if it wasn't elevated?
You wouldn't be able
You
to.
wouldn't be able to, there's literally rocks again, rock.
Okay, so it's elevated and how far?
Little valley and then it goes to the peak of almost 400.
So it might be 300 feet away from the existing one or something?
Or they're even less.
Yeah, well, not much difference.
Flat lawn, more.
The certificate that we put out actually shows all of that, the burn and everything else that would be between us, that would also be affected in mitigating noise, as well as all of those tests that were done were without any mitigations in place whatsoever. No fencing, nothing was put up.
Yeah.
So I think that that's important to note too, so. And the NBC 300 is a standard that is not used widely with kennels. That's why they recommend the setback.
Did you read this summary?
Summary, not here.
Okay,
I'll end with saying that myself personally, I'd like to see the property.
well, we can go to you. The question I have, is there a lot of trees between the building and the neighbor? Okay, all right. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this concludes the public comment on the meeting. Any further questions from council? So this is the end of this discussion then on file D14 ZB 2024-012 Pop and Arndt.
So Murray, I have a question. Part of the resolution in public meeting is that council makes a decision on whether they're recommending approval. What does council wish to say on that?
Council? Barry?
I think I'm gonna have a tendency to agree with Walt. I think maybe we should have a better look at it. Maybe. Staff did look at it, but did staff think about moving the building though, when they were there?
No, staff, so one of the questions that staff had to council was whether they would want to consider moving the runs that are closest to the neighboring property. So maybe that would then push those runs on the other side of the building between the house dwelling and the structure for the kennel, just to further mitigate some of the maybe noise. But that was just a question to council whether that was a consideration as part of this proposal, or if they were happy with the setback that's again through other municipalities is sort of the median setback with you know, the 185 meters and 150 as mentioned.
And does council have questions about the surrounding forest or anything like that? Can staff answer that as well? Like if it's heavily treed and stuff, or I don't know if that was already answered. Sorry, some of the conversation was happening at the back of the room without mics. So, is it heavily treed between the two properties as well?
Yeah, I would just note that it is heavily treed, as noted in the reports and the peer review, that attenuation wasn't considered in the analysis. So it's pretty much if you take a rock, drop it in the water and watch the ripple effect without anything sort of stopping or mitigating that ripple. You know, they mentioned that wasn't factored in. So once you put trees, mitigation measures such as soundproofing, fencing, and those type of things, that will dampen the overall noise or the total noise. So just something to think about too when considering that was mentioned in both reports and in the report that in the peer review as well, that they didn't factor in those sort of measures.
What's the odds of, what's the opportunity to move the runs to the other side of the building?
We also have setbacks that we have to follow that are in between our building. If we push it further fast, then we're too close.
And then we're closer to our
This
septic.
be a appropriate area and
We're getting closer and closer. Getting closer to our septic, closer to the creek.
Sorry, guys, I think maybe if the staff isn't hearing any of this, so they can't comment on this because they're talking back there.
Well, well, you can, but go ahead, give you a couple of minutes, but what my question is, can you do it and still meet the zoning requirements?
Getting so much closer to the septic.
Uh,
I got the pond,
That's not the septic for your house or for the dog?
And then we're getting closer to the pond on the side of the house, which is also wetland. We have the creek
And
that
it's
runs.
runoff.
It's 80+ acres forest land, straight up hills.
Mountain.
So right now we're sitting in a little valley, which is more flat, but then it does, the elevation does go up, like, it goes significantly straight up. And there's trails that go up that way, but there's nothing
So
that,
how long are the runs?
like the dog runs itself. My wife is,
But I'm sorry, I don't have those handy on me right
I don't wanna,
A run, it's a square fenced in area.
Yeah, like how big is that? That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
within so with the kennel and the building itself, it was 2 acres with the whole
Right.
property, everything all together.
Mayor, may I speak, please?
This is getting out of control, guys. We just got
No,
a terrible.
I just wanted to clear up about the one side. I apologize. I'll just.
Murray, the study's been done by the professionals, not us.
I'm sorry, I'd like to hear you, Bill, but you're not part of this delegation. But I guess all I'm trying to figure, is there any move you can make to try and accommodate?
that you're getting too close now to the setbacks of our home, setbacks of the creeks now, and the setbacks of the ponds in our property, the setback distances.
And this is planning, you're talking planning issues now. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to manage those setbacks, and right now we are falling well below those setback numbers, so to push us in a different direction to be closer to our setbacks that doesn't seem reasonable.
So if the request by 2 is to go look at it, that's going to defer it till the September meeting. So is that what council wants to do?
It has been submitted in the report, like a topography survey as well, just to show you like the layout of the lands and what is there. Just to get you an understanding of the like tree lines and the exact measurements and the elevations that are there.
Murray, with no offense to Walt and Barry, like if Cambium's did a review here already and it's based on measurement and sound carry over over the distance and topography, with no offense, I don't know that going there is going to make a difference because you can see the property, and if it's on the map here, the way it is high 30 feet. You're up 30 feet and that noise is going to get worse as it goes. You're more elevated now, you're above the trees now, so it's going to go farther. So my opinion is to vote it through and get on with other things here, but anyway.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving, but if you do that, we are gonna go to court, I guarantee it. Distance is related to the sound. So you are making a mistake, I agree, 100%, check it out. This is terrible because we are kind of.
I'd like to say the public comment was posed, and he's using a threat to sway your.
I just
all right.
tell you, we're gonna go to court, it's gonna cost.
Well, you can do whatever you can do whatever you like.
To pay money to get it done right, so they could get a kennel.
Well, we've
And if
already
the
heard that,
kennel
sir.
says it will go on in that building, we will accept that. So we've offered a very good opportunity here to solve this problem for a long time. But these guys are hell bent on saving $10,000 and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm just so frustrated. It's very, very emotionally terrible.
Go away before you have a heart attack.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. And,
Thanks.
but please make a sensible adjustment. We've offered a very good solution.
Appreciate your comment.
Everybody's got a different opinion of the world.
I'll just say,
Just as aggressive as with, there's a police documented trespassing report against Mr.
I've
Atkins.
been very aggressive and I'm against all that.
Yeah, I understand all that. Okay.
yeah, let me just say one quick thing.
Yeah,
Like, I brought up that thing and didn't realize I was bringing up such a hornet's nest, but myself personally, I'd love to have site visit, a visual of it. I'm all in favor of pets and animals like we all are. We need kennels. But I just wanted to see if there was a chance that maybe we could, adjust it, because that was a new thing brought up about the, moving the,
but you
kennel.
also heard from the owners that that's not reasonable.
Yeah, well, yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry. Walt, if you look on page 23, it shows you the elevation and it shows you the rock, and it is quite significant, and it goes uphill, and then the upset people are downhill from it after that. So there would have to,
It'll be a funnel.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a pretty good barrier there. I'm not saying it, don't go look at it. I'm just, if you want to see
Can I have
that.
a mover to accept it? Nancy and Pat? Any further discussion? All in favor?
I have to read the resolution. Am I reading it to approve?
Yeah,
Okay. Be it resolved that the report for the lands of Pop and Art, which consists of Part Lot 6, Concession 11, the Geographic Township of Dudley, Municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information, and that Council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its August 26, 2025 regular meeting, and that Council recommends that the application be approved, and that the use of a kennel on the property be subject to site plan control to implement the mitigation measures and noise complaint response plan.
I was just trying to see where we are on it. Mover Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Opposed, anybody? Okay, done. On to the next one. Lands of An,
Yep, thank you. This is for the lands of Anderson. This proposed amendment would change the zoning of the subject property from open space to waterfront residential type 3 zone. Staff do not have historical records explaining the rationale behind the property's original open space zoning. However, the property has held the designation since 1977 with the municipal zoning bylaw was first enacted. And the zoning was maintained during the comprehensive bylaw review in 2005. The current application seeks to rezone the property to reflect the existing and intended use of the waterfront residential property. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters were circulated on August 5th, and notice was put into the local newspaper. To date, no comments have been received. And the recommendation, the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the Dysart official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning. It is recommended that council approve the zoning amendment.
okay. Is the applicant here? No?
Yep, he is. He's just on Zoom here.
Oh, here we are. Okay,
Dawn, can you unmute yourself? There you
Sorry.
go. That's okay.
I'm used to Teams. Good morning. Yeah, I'm here on Teams or Zoom. I don't have anything to add. I think it's a clerical issue, and we're just resolving that. And I thank everybody for their time.
okay, well, that's good and brief comment. Any questions from council? Anything from the public? Anyone here wishing to speak? Okay,
I'll read the resolution.
yeah, resolution.
Be it resolved that the report for file number D14-ZB-2025-004 Anderson, which consists of Part Lot 15, Concession 10, Lot 2, Plan 395 in the Geographic Township of Harborne, Municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information, and that Council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its August 26, 2025 regular meeting, and that Council recommends that the bylaw be approved.
Mover and seconder, Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So the next application is D14 ZB 2025-010 Jones and Bennett Jones. The proposed zoning amendment is a condition of concurrent severance application, D00-SV 2024-003, bracket H-029-24. The zoning amendment seeks to rezone a portion of the subject lands from rural type 1 to waterfront residential type 4 to ensure consistency with the zoning of the benefiting lands. So the lands that were severed and then being attached or conveyed to the subject property. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters were circulated on August 5th, and notice and advertisement was put into the local newspaper as per the Planning Act, and to date, no comments have been received. The application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to Dysart official plan, is appropriate and represents good planning. It is recommended that council approve the zoning amendment.
Okay, so this is a lot addition, right?
It was for a lot addition, and just because from the portion of property that was severed and then being conveyed was rural, and then what it's being conveyed to is waterfront residential. So it's just making that property consistent as one waterfront residential zone. So you don't have a split zone on the property.
And we do have someone on Zoom. Does the applicant have any comments?
I have nothing to add. I think it's all self-explanatory. I'm just here in case you have any questions.
Okay. Public comments, any? Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that the report for file number D14-ZB-2025-010 Jones and Bennett Jones, which consists of lot 21 and 22, concession 7 in the geographic township of Guildford, municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information. That council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its August 26, 2025 regular meeting, and that council recommends that the bylaw be approved.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carry. Okay, this concludes the bylaw on Jones and Bennett. So that was straightforward, wasn't it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, resolution then.
Yep. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:38 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Carmen and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so we have a resolution in on these drafts. That's how we're doing here now.
No, we're moving into delegations now, Murray.
Okay, because I got an R beside it, so there you go.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Delegations. Okay. We got Jason here. Is Jason here? And Joanne? Yeah, you want to come up? No, I want you up here, right at the front. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, just press it.
Good day, Mayor and Council. Thank you for your time today. My name is Councillor Jason Marston. I'm here representing Aldwell First Nation. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today to address any concerns you may have on the purchase of the road allowance, provide more detail on the benefits and the intended use of the land. On January 28, 2025, Aldwell First Nation spoke to your council and requested the purchase of a road allowance that goes through our Moose Woods property. We have made every effort to work collaboratively with your government and made significant investments to follow your processes. We own both sides of the road allowance and believe that consolidating the land makes for better land management and protection of the area. We were pleased to be informed that council passed a resolution agreeing to process an application and declaring the land surplus. We were told that the next step would be for Aldwell First Nation to pay for a survey plan at our cost, which we had done. At your request, we also investigated the Peterson Trail, and AFN paid an extra $21,500 to install 50 extra monuments to show it on the survey. The survey cost Aldwell First Nation a total of almost $200,000 so far. We have also submitted a deposit of $1,000 for the appraisal. We are advised an estimate of market value for the road allowance would be obtained, and council will provide a sale price to us for the lands. In July, Aldeville First Nation addressed your concern that current municipal policy typically excludes flooded or wetland portions of the road allowance sales. The surveyor reported that the moisture in the area varies significantly with rainfall and seasonal changes, and the site remains dry for extended periods. He also advised us that this hydrological variability distinguishes it from permanent wetlands, and it suggests a need for a site-specific evaluation rather than a blanket exclusion. I also understand that there have been some concerns about selling the road allowance due to public access concerns and whether the official plan permits it. Section 3.2.7 of the official plan specifically lists circumstances when council may sell road allowance, and our situation meets these criteria perfectly. The plan allows sales to resolve situations where deemed appropriate by the municipality and where suitable alternative public access is provided or available, section 3.2.7. You can also sell it when it addresses development constraints on abutting lots. Consolidating our parcels enables better land management. Your official plan protects access to lakes and rivers, but this road allowance doesn't provide any unique water access. I can assure you that AFN is committed to protecting the land and the endangered species and habitat across the full area. We have already over $100,000 cleaning up contamination on our adjacent lands. One owner managing the entire area is better than fragmented responsibility. We believe this supports your official plan goal for wise use of natural resources without municipal expense, section 4.1. These lands lie within our traditional territory, and we are the original stewards of this land, with cultural and spiritual obligations to protect it. Returning these lands to First Nation ownership supports reconciliation, recognizes our inherent connection to our traditional territory. Our traditional ecological knowledge includes sustainable forest management practices, which have been developed over generations. We plan on using this area as outdoor classrooms to teach our youth about environmental stewardship and cultural connection to the land, which will include harvesting practices of plants and animals and ecological understanding. We do not plan on building any infrastructure on this property. It will not be developed. In conclusion, selling us the road allowance would create one continuous, properly managed area. There will be no boundary conflicts and management gaps in the ecosystem. It would provide for continuous land and habitat management across the entire area. It achieves all the Dysart official plan environmental goals at no cost to you. Access concerns are addressed through multiple alternative routes. You will be returning traditional territory lands to the original stewards. You'll be creating positive precedent for future cooperation, collaboration. Thus, it is our belief that the official plan supports the purchase of the road allowance, and we respectfully request that your council approve the purchase. Miigwech, and thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So this matter will be going into a closed session for further discussion.
Before I sit down, I just want to present your council with a hand-painted paddle to one of our elders within our community.
Oh, very good. Thank you. That's about my size too. Very nice. Good. Thank you. Okay.
I'll read the resolution, Murray, unless you guys are still talking, or?
Are we still talking? Any comments? Okay, go ahead.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from representatives of Alderville First Nation regarding the application to purchase part of the original road allowance from Rice Lake Properties Corporation.
Do you have a slide of that presentation you made? No, if you just send us one, that would be a good thing. Okay. Okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to discuss this further today. Request for relief from the sign bylaw. Who's dealing with that? Haley?
Yes, good morning. So we do have a request for relief from the sign bylaw from Remax. Would we want the delegate to speak to it first, and I can answer any questions if there are any?
Sure. Who's here from Remax?
Me.
There you are.
Good morning, everybody. First, I want to apologize for the mix-up and wanted to let you know that when we had the sign design, it was all in good faith, and we had expected the sign company would follow all of the bylaws and get the appropriate permits. But obviously that did not happen. Just a couple of points. When we designed it, we wanted it to match the general look of other signs in town, and we thought we had accomplished that. And I guess we would really appreciate a exemption for it. And also want to point out that we do have plans to improve and reface the building sometime in the next 12 to 18 months. We want to start that project, and we promise we will get the appropriate permits and approvals. But at this stage, we'd really appreciate that exemption.
So it's the nature of it, because you're allowed, Haley, what are they allowed there? A gooseneck sign or?
Yeah, so they are permitted gooseneck lighting. I did have a bit of a back and forth with their contractor back in late 2023. The original plans did show for a backlit sign. I had a phone conversation with Jason Noseworthy from Priority Permits regarding that backlit sign was not permitted. I did then get updated plans that did not include the backlit sign, which are attached to this report. So the permit was approved, and they do have a permit for a sign, but the plans that were attached to the permit did not include backlighting. Gooseneck lighting was the discussed option over the phone.
So it was just a verbal thing then?
Yeah, but for the record, that wasn't relayed to us. He did tell us that we didn't get a permit for the backlit sign when the sign was already made. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we are planning to reface the building, and we would get new signs. Our plan is to get new signs for all the tenants. We haven't officially decided that yet, but yeah, I mean, it was quite expensive to do, and because we have this project coming up, and we're going to do new signs in the future, to do it twice would be, very cost prohibitive, and I'm just coming hat in hand here and hope you'll give us an exemption for even a 18 to 24 month window until that project is completed.
But you wouldn't put the same sign up again, so you're going to redo it anyway, aren't you?
Yes, that's the plan.
So whether you do it now or do it in 24 months.
Yes, except based on the like, we haven't finalized any of the designs yet. So, and I think what we're looking at now is, like, we don't know if it's going to be difficult to tell what's going to fit best at this stage. So we just don't have enough information to make a quality decision.
Okay, so if we give you some relief, how do we know you're going to do what you say you're going to do? What happens if you don't redo the front of the building in a year?
Well, I guess what I would say is, I mean, we also own the building that Algonquin Outfitters is in right now. If you noticed, we did do some major improvements there.
Yes.
We believe that the building in question with the sign in question is really outdated. It needs to be improved. My sister and I, who's my partner, and the other owner of the business, we really believe in the longevity and value of Halliburton as a town community, and we're committed to continuing to invest there, not just for our business, but just for the overall township, which I think really improves everybody's value. So,
For sure.
yeah, I mean, we're committed to it. We're just working through pricing right now with the designers who are in town.
Okay.
Sorry, Murray, I'm not meaning to interrupt, but council does have the option, I think, Haley, you interrupt me if I'm wrong, to grant relief for a certain period of time.
That's what
So, like, if do you prefer Christopher or Chris?
I'm ambidextrous. So
Okay, I'll say
preference.
Chris. So if Chris, like, if 24 months is reasonable in Chris's mind, and if council thinks that's reasonable, that's probably enough. Does that make sense, Haley? From a bylaw perspective?
Yeah, I can amend the existing license to provide a time limited exemption. I don't know if we've done that before, but it's something I can probably pull off. If that's council's decision, then I can amend the license accordingly.
Just a question, if I may. There's a couple of signs that are backlit just further down the strip. Is there like a section that you're allowed it on the main drag and another that you're not?
I think Haley can speak to the history on that probably.
Yeah, so we did have a conversation about this in January, because these photos were sent to me. So the photos included in the report here. As mentioned, Rexall and CIBC, their signs predate the existing bylaw.
Yes, okay, I
Can't be
remember.
retroactively enforced. Shoppers, Drug Mart, Algonquin Outfitters, which other ones are we looking at here? I think McKeck's all have gooseneck lighting, which is permitted. The only one I had a question about was Ball, which I did go back into the files from before I was here. They do have a permit under the current bylaw. It was deemed not backlit because the letters are opaque. There is light behind the letters, but it's not lighting the face of the sign. It's creating a shadow or a silhouette that is not considered backlighting.
Okay.
Okay. So they were there before the bylaw, basically.
Just CIBC and Rexall are the ones that predate the bylaw, so they would be legal, non-conforming or.
Right. Okay, is there any comments?
I'm thought, well, I was going to suggest that anyway, if we could delay it for 2 years, and if Chris, if you're agreeable to that, and then, if you don't do your renovations in 2 years, you may have to change the sign around. But in the meantime, leave it as is, give you the 2 years, and then hopefully you can incorporate it in your updates.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think you all really like what we have planned. I think it's going to be really amazing. Hopefully you approve it.
But I'm just concerned about if it never did happen, let's take the worst case scenario. Who's checking that?
Well, I guess that'd be
Nobody.
up to bylaw, that they'd have to go back in 2 years and say
Yeah.
nothing's changed, so you're gonna have to
But
change
you'd
it then.
have to be watching that stuff. It has to be triggered by something. Again, it's a staff issue to deal with, so. Anyway, I'm good with it if that's what we want to do. Okay,
I can read a resolution. We see if we have
Yep.
support. Be resolved that the request from Remax for relief from section 4.5 of the sign bylaw is granted for 24 months.
okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carrie, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Our time is your time. Okay. Mr. Adamson. Is he here or he's on Zoom? Oh, there she is. Sweat Games and Glebe Park, Andrea.
So Chelsea Adamson is coming up to the front to talk about the Sweat Games. It's a proposal that came forward requesting the use of Glebe Park for a one-day event, fitness style event, but I'll let Chelsea tell you about it. And then if you have questions, I'm here to answer them.
Okay, so I'm excited to be here. I'm a little bit nervous. This just means that this button. There we go. I'm excited to be here, a little bit nervous. This just means our dream is coming together and growing in Haliburton like we planned for the last 12 years. My name's Chelsea Adamson Abs, almost abs. We'll get there eventually, but we keep growing in the businesses instead. I'm here today seeking council's permission to use Glebe Park on Sunday, September 28th to host the 3rd annual Sweat Games that our gym, Sweat Social Health and Fitness, has been facilitating. We were founded in 2022, opened with our 2 little babies helping us build everything. And currently we're located across the street in the Tank Building is what we've been calling ourselves, right beside the Legion. We are offering group fitness classes, open gym time. We've had CrossFit Games athletes, strongman competitors from overseas this summer. We've gotten to see all the cottagers come in, and we're really booming and successful right now. And I can't thank this city enough for helping us get there. And we also were privileged to, in 2023 to be named New Business of the Year by the Haliburton Chamber of Commerce, which I've now gone ahead and wanted to integrate even more with my community and become a board member of. Sweat Social hosts the annual Sweat Games, which is a fitness competition that brings together athletes of all levels, 16 to 76 so far, and I would love to see that made even further. And it's just super high energy celebration of strength, conditioning, and community spirit, which is what we're all about. Since its inception, the Sweat Games have grown in popularity and participation, and we are expecting, with 1 month of sales so far, we've got 25 teams, which are pairs, and we're hoping to move that to, some say 100, I'm saying 96, math's better, but we'll see what happens. And for this reason, we're seeking council's permission to move to Sweat Games from our facility to Glebe Park on Sunday, September 8th. Ranging around 9 to 4. I think we can make it even a little bit shorter. Glebe Park provides a perfect outdoor venue for both athlete participation and spectators. This location will not cause any traffic concerns within the village of Haliburton. Fleming College has been made aware that our participants will be accessing their parking lot on Sunday, September 28th, and there's no classes or events that day. The Sweat Games will comply with all relevant requirements of Dysart's agreement for the use of the municipal parks. We plan to use the field, baseball diamond, and toboggan hill. I'm giving away so many secrets right now, and some of the walking trails. Our events will not damage Glebe Park, including the grass, but if you need a gut, I got a guy. Pathways in Glebe Park will not be impeded by our events, and they'll remain open to the public as well. And we'll abide by Dysart's noise bylaw. We are grateful to the guidance provided by Dysart's manager of programs and events, Andrea, as we've been planning this year's Sweat Games. In addition, members of the Glebe Park Committee, including Chair Jim Blake and Museum Director Kate Butler, have been informed about the event, and we have been given their blessings and saying that we are not going to interfere with anything that's going on. And we look forward to delivering a positive Sweat Games that benefits residents and visitors alike. Should we be given permission to host the annual Sweat Games at Glebe Park, we hope members of council will check out the event, maybe even participate September 28th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any comments? Resolution then?
Okay. Be it resolved that council approves the use of Glebe Park on September 28, 2025 for the Sweat Games on the condition that the event organizers comply with all relevant requirements of Dysart's agreement for use of municipal parks.
Mover and seconder. Carm and Tammy, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next, Jim Prince and Andy Gordon. Yeah, right there, yeah, right there, but if you're, just. Sure. Guess it's better if.
Yeah, we do have a slide deck. If we could slide, it would be great. Morning.
You know the 10-minute time limit.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
There we go. Morning, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councilors. Great to see you again.
We're here to talk about an invasive plant that's come around Dysart, the south part of Dysart. It might not be able to manage, but we've done some work in the upper reaches of the watershed, and we think we've got a good chance to mitigate it. And in particular, last year when we did the survey, we found one of our absolutely fantastic beaches, the West Guilford Beach, is at risk of being covered by invasive Phragmites, and we'll talk about that. So Jim Prince, I'm co-chair of ULinks, ULinks Management Board, and also I'm KLCOA Vice President, and I've been a Stewardship Director for a good number of years.
Andy Gordon, Director, ULinks, relocated to the county in 2019 from Dorset originally. My dad worked at the Frost Center, and I live about 4K from Carnarvon, where in 1956 my parents won the provincial bowling championship at the old bowling lanes there. So next slide, please. Here's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to just say a few words about ULinks. We'll talk a little bit about this nasty plant, invasive Phragmites, tell you a little bit about what we did back in 2024, what we hope to do this year, and then we'll address the issue that Jim mentioned about Pine Lake, and then make a request to you for ULinks support on the issue. Next slide, please. So what is ULinks? You've probably heard about us. We've been in the county for 35 years, 25 years under the ULinks banner. We work in all sectors: business, social, economic, cultural, and environmental. About 80% of our work is in environment. And basically how we work is we're research brokers. So if you're an organization or a business in Haliburton County and you've got a problem and you can't solve it, you can come to us. We'll walk down the road to Trent University. We'll find the brightest fourth-year students we can, formulate the problem. They'll come up to Haliburton County, got a 98% success rate on solving problems for free, and the students get a really good learning experience out of it. So that's how we operate. At our website there, you can find over 500 research projects that have been conducted by over 3,000 students in the past 25 years or so. Next, please. So just a couple of achievements here. A lot of our student projects go on to create bigger things. So the shoreline evaluation project that started back in Kinesis in 2010 led to the Love Your Lake program. History of Indigenous Habitation, Haliburton County, led to the land acknowledgement that's used by many organizations in the county. In 2019, we spun off an organization called the Woodlands and Waterways EcoWatch program, which I'll talk very little about, but we're involved with lake associations, the Land Trust, other organizations, and the county basically in terms of looking at the future health of the county's lakes and forests. And all of our data that we collect and all of our projects are all made publicly available. And so we hope that councillors and municipal governments use this information to enact good legislation. Next, please. Just with respect to Dysart, I just grabbed a few projects historically that have the students have worked on. Food waste reduction. We had a project at the landfill where we were looking at illegal dumping. We've put together a guidebook on beach bark disease, which probably needs updating now with the scourge of the disease in the county, and a variety of other things as well too. Next, please. One of our big initiatives here, and I'd really like to thank Mayor Ferry and Deputy Mayor McKechnie for their support at the county level, is the Testing the Waters program. So we started this back in 2022 with 10 lake associations. It's now grown to 25 lake associations, which represent half of them in the county across 39 lakes, supported by Haliburton County, the lake associations, a variety of other partners. So thank you very much for that. Next, please. And we've been very busy. You can read the numbers there yourselves, but the picture down about the middle there showing the people on ice, this is unique to our water quality testing program. So we actually sample in the wintertime, which many other programs do not do. And that's really important, especially in the county where we have 29 lakes that are drawn down. And that drawdown effect has some potentially negative impacts on aquatic health. I don't have a slide on it, but we're about to roll out our public viewing platform. So when you go to that website, click on it, you'll be able to take your cursor, go to any lake, click on it. It'll give you a history of the lake in terms of water quality. You can compare one lake to another. You can compare lakes at the bottom of the watershed to the ones in the upper. And it's very user friendly, and anybody in the public will have access to that. Next, please. Okay, so what are invasive Phragmites? It's a very nasty plant. Actually, it's probably quite a nice plant, but to us, it's nasty. It got here in the 1700s from Eurasia as seeds in the soil that were used as the ballast in the old sailing ships. And it very rapidly went up and down the East Coast. And over the last 300 years, it started to move north. And now we see it here in Haliburton County. And it's got a very dense root mat system, and it chokes out all the native vegetation, and it's very, very nasty. And as Jim said, it can take over beaches. At the bottom of that slide, you'll see it's been identified by the Ontario Invasive Species Council as the most dangerous invasive species in Canada. And in fact, ULinks accessed some money from that organization a couple of years ago. And when we went back to do some follow-up studies, we were informed that Haliburton County had been removed from the list of eligible properties or counties with respect to that. So if I were a councillor in Haliburton County, I would be absolutely outraged about this and would be writing to my local MPP, because it's a very serious and emerging problem. And actually, it's a very critical issue with respect to water quality. And so ULinks takes it very seriously, and we'd be happy to sit down with you and have input into a letter like that if you decided to go that way. I'll turn it over to Jim, who's the frag expert here.
So in terms of invasive and non-invasive frag, there's a little bit of non-invasive or native frag in Dysart. So those two the fronds that I handed out, there's the invasive one, and it's a large purple frond, and it's the non-invasive one. There's a nice big non-invasive patch on Queens Lake Road right here, the marina. But this is the stuff that you've got. This is actually from Pine Lake. So, and they aren't dropping their seeds yet, and I don't think there's enough fertilizer here in the office to sustain any frag growing. So I hope there isn't any. No jokes, Mary. Next slide. So that's the native versus, so this is the native versus and there's certain characteristics, but the fronds at the top and the rhizomes are about the same. The native ones are about 6 feet. The other ones can grow up to 15 to 20 feet tall. Next slide. So in 2024, we got $20,000 from the Invasive Species Center funded by MNRF. We did 180 kilometers of the roads from West Guildford all the way to the top of the lakes, every spur road up there. And we did it walking, cycling, a little bit of driving on the long stretches, and identified 27 patches of frag, mostly small, mostly controllable. And because they're in the upper reaches, we think we can probably eradicate it, except potentially the one in Pine Lake, and there's one just north of West Guildford. We also did 31 sites in your public water access. We did, I forget how many in Dysart, 14, but the rest in the other municipalities as well. We found no frag, which was unusual because of the boat traffic, because of all the human traffic, but that was a good news story. Could be to do with the fact that your municipal employees are trimming, keeping them in good shape, but I don't know that they're attacking the frag, but that was a really good news story. So next slide. So in 2023, when we looked at the data, when some people actually on Lipsey Lake told us there's a problem with frag, came to us and said, can we do a project? We looked and there was one frag patch identified on Redstone, and that was it. So there's no data, but we knew there was frag around. This is an application called EDD Maps. The public puts in the reports. We reported all our findings in EDD Maps. So you can just go home, log into EDD Maps. You can see all of the reports we made. And we're slowly adding information where we're taking the patches out. So I'll show you, I think I've got a slide here where we took a few patches out the last 2 weeks, then we're going at them again this Friday. Next slide. So the upper watershed was our place we started with, and it was Kinesis Lakes, all the Redstone Lakes, Lipsey Lakes, and Growler Lake, including the County Road 7, as I mentioned, all the way down to West Guildford. Next slide. So that was the scope. And again, on the left-hand side, you can see where the original report was in 2023. That was found in about early 20s, I think. And then on the right-hand side are the patches we found. Those spots are sometimes multiple patches of frag. And the biggest patch of frag up on Kinesis Lake, and we're mostly on West Shore, and I'll talk about that in a minute, is about the size of 6 F-150 extended cabs. That makes sense. You can tell what that is. And they're very, very dense. So we believe that there's a couple on Kinesis Lake Road, one on Wilkinson,
but most of the ones on West Shore were from imported soil. There's almost certainly the soil was imported in the 90s when those roads were made, and perhaps road maintenance afterwards. There is no mechanism, I don't think, a real good mechanism to try and identify contaminated soil before it goes in. The other thing that's happened is with climate change, that frag, if that was put in the 90s and we still had cold winters from the 90s till now, it probably wouldn't have survived. So it's just sort of double whammy. Okay. Next slide. So that's the map of the sites. The blue spots are the sites that we looked at on all the public water access sites. And the green lines, including some lines in the water, we did about 4 or 5 kilometers of on water. We didn't find any in the water on Canisius Lake or any of those other lakes as well. They were all in ditches or on the other side of the road. So next slide. I won't go into this one. This is the EDD maps. I'd encourage you to go have a look at it when you get home. Next slide. I had forwarded to council the 2 reports we made. One was the reporting of all the sites and one was recommendations for removal. And I'll talk now, slip into recommendations for removal for those sites. Next slide. The university partnered with the University of Guelph. We had 3 intern students. It was really successful. They did great reporting, and that's part of the ULinks game, doing this community-based research and giving the students the opportunity to have some field work. In terms of removal, we looked at the management priorities. We could remove small patches and isolated patches. That's easy because you can get rid of those. The removal of the patches that pose the greatest threat to a number of things, including public access locations and actually on the water as well. It should have been on the water in there. The removal of the frag in those locations helps to reduce the amount of spreading. And then finally, the removal of large core patches. So I'll tell you about those 2 in a minute, the ones in West Guildford. Next slide. In terms of removal technique, the recommendation is for the 25 sites up around the lakes, it's a manual spade removal. And we can remove a patch half the size of this council chambers in about 3 hours with about 8 or 9 people. It's not that bad. It does take 2 or 3 times to remove them. So on the one patch on Wilkinson Drive near the Canisius Lake Marina, we took it out last August and only about 25% came back this year. We took it out a couple weeks ago. We might have one more go at it, just a couple people, and we might be able to eradicate it. Next slide. So for 2025, we looked at we actually applied for 2 grants for 2025 and we were denied those grants. And that was what Andy was saying. The MNR plus the Invasive Species Control Fund, the Invasive Phragmites Control Fund, deprioritized Haldimand County, which was a shame. They moved the money more to the Great Lakes and Lake Simcoe and away from us. One small grant came here, but we didn't get any. So in 2025, we did get a couple of small grants, ULinks, $5,000 from Canada Service Corps Community Impact Micro Grant and $1,000 from the Lake Associations. So we're here to ask possibly for some additional funds or a commitment to support this project somehow to continue this removal, because it is taking ULinks staff to do it and we are a nonprofit. Next slide. Okay, so we've completed 4 priority sites with manual spading on August the 15th. The week after that, we completed 2 large sites on West Shore. Those were all on Canisius Lake Road. And then you can see the spots on West Shore. So we took 2 big ones out last week as well. Next slide. Next slide. So this is what it looks like when you're removing. That's the patch at the Canisius Lake Marina. On the opposite side of the road, it is close to the lake. It's also close to a wetland right near Steve Carnahan's property. The removal method was manual spading. Before manual spading, we de-seed head. We take the seed heads home. We can burn those in our wood burning stoves or when the fire ban's off in a barrel. We take the rhizomes, which are hefty roots, and we black bag those and leave those in the sun. In about 3 weeks, they disintegrate, turn to mush, and you can landfill those. So that's the plan for these. Next slide. So this is the bad, nasty stand. So on the photograph on the left, you're looking from Nyla Road at the corner of Nyla Road and Canisius Lake Road, looking over toward the beach. That's, you can almost see Garm Shop in the back there. Is that where they do the fireworks from? Another platform, yeah. So beautiful beach. It is at risk. That's a direct shot of the frag, and then I've got the next picture is actually a shot from the West Guilford Beach dock over to that patch there. It's not too big, but it will almost certainly come over and take the beach over. That's what frag likes to do. Next slide. Again, that's just a picture of it with a map. And our recommendation is, in this particular case, about 15 to 20% is underwater. You use an underwater cutting method. It's called a raspberry cane cutter. And then next summer, when the water comes up, it could drown the roots. And then for the stuff above the water line, you would use manual spading. And you probably wouldn't want to use glyphosate or any other chemicals. Next slide. So what are we asking for? Well, how can Dysart Council help? ULinks is requesting additional financial support for 2025 to continue this removal, and in particular, take this patch out and the one just north of West Guilford. We've got that little bit of funding, $5 or $6 grand. We're asking for funding from Dysart up from about $6,000 to $10,000. We were going to put together a proposal for you. We'll have it in your hands. I think it says there by the next slide, by the early September.
September 3rd.
Yeah, and ULink staff will support this and provide oversight. We'll train volunteers. We could be a joint project between Dysart staff and ULink staff to train folks how to do it. So if some of your Rob Camelon's folks or some of the roads people could come and help out. The other option is we could actually wait till school starts, hire some high school students to come in to help as well. We have all the insurance to cover that sort of stuff. So requesting approval in principle to proceed with ULink support not to exceed $10,000 in funding. And that would basically take all these patches out from 118 all the way up to Mississippi. Next slide. I think this is just to finish. So what are the next steps? ULinks is prepared to do a fee-for-service proposal to the municipality of Dysart. We'll get that to you by September the 3rd and requesting approval in principle at this point, and there may be some negotiations between now and then for up to $10,000, but we'll sharpen our pencil and see what it would actually take to get out. And then Andy wants to talk a little bit about opportunities for working together.
Just a few. ULinks is a great resource, and it's free. It gives students a really good experience. So if there's situations within the municipality where your staff are overworked, don't have the time to do something, call on us, and we can work with the students and give a lot of backup support to stuff that goes on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
One quick question for you there. They did some spraying along the highways there last year. You know where I'm talking about? Is that the same species that?
It was 118.
Yes.
And that could have been what it was, but I came from Kitty's Lake this morning, and from 118 from Abbey Gardens, there's a big patch on the right-hand side driving that way, and there's half a dozen patches between Kinesis Lake Road and town.
Yeah.
Some of them are in marshes. If they sprayed last year, didn't take them out.
Yeah, they were definitely, Fowlers were going along there with a spray truck spraying. So I just wondered if it was the same species.
It could be.
Not sure.
It may have been.
I don't know who would have authorized it, though.
But glyphosate takes it out, but it also is not the greatest stuff if you're near a water body or the marsh is actually draining into water bodies. There's a couple little lakes on the way into town on 118 there, and I don't think you'd want to use glyphosate. Mechanical removal is okay, but if you go in with a backhoe or something, you spread those rhizomes around, it just makes it more a mess.
Right.
You got to do it a little bit surgically. And the best part is these little patches up at the lake, we think we can get them. So in the south, I think we're pooched in the south part of the county. They're big enough. It's enough of them. There's a curve that people show about invasive species. You get them here, you might be able to eradicate them. Up here, you live with them. And so the south part of the county, south part of Ontario, it's probably livable.
Okay. Any other concerns? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mallory?
So council would like to offer funding up to 10K. I need direction on that. That's all.
We need a proposal first of all. So
Okay, so we're gonna support the fee for service proposal in principle, and then discuss it again at September council. Is that the plan?
Right, and when we got a treasurer too, so.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from U-Link's representatives regarding invasive Phragmites at the Pine Lake West Guilford Public Beach, and further agrees to support the fee-for-service proposal in principle to continue with invasive Phragmites removal on County Road 7 and on Dysart roads near the upper watershed lakes.
Okay, resolution moved by Walt, seconded by Carm. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, do we want to have a 10-minute break? Or do we want to go right ahead? Okay, well, let's do one more then. Tove Sutton. Why, do you need a break? Okay. I don't want anything happen that shouldn't here, so. Okay, okay, we'll take 10 minutes. Okay? Okay. Okay, and we got our next delegation. And by the way, you sent us a lot of information.
I did indeed, Mayor.
And
Good morning.
we've had a chance for 3 days to look at that. And now you've given us more today, so I've told you got 10 minutes. And I'm
You
gonna be
you sure
calling.
have.
So I don't know how what you're gonna highlight, but that's up to you.
Pretty much what you received in your email, that's where I really want to focus some of my attention. So good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Really
Go
pleased to be here.
Start to know.
My name's Tovey, Tove, last name Sutton. I live on Musquaby Lake, which is a gorgeous lake. So my opening statement is, I'm here today not to invoke ancestral claims, nor to recite the familiar refrain of seasonal economic contribution. I proudly own the role many locals already assigned to people like me, the naive city idiot. Easy to fleece and slow to catch on. But I take that phrase today as an endearment because, you know, we've moved from seasonal to full-time. And I would like to have my slide presentation be a foundational document for moving forward in a postmortem on the short-term rental regulations. And I found it really interesting that on the Dysart coat of arms, it says confidently yet cautiously. So what I want to talk about in the first couple of slides is actually the housing and actually to dispel some of the myths about what we see in terms of long-term rentals versus short-term rentals. And I think I've laid it out fairly clearly. Go ahead. I think I've laid it out pretty clear that we can't just go on rhetoric. We need to have facts and we need to have evidence, right? So what is the message that we've been sending to our community in regards to short-term rentals? It feels like we really don't want them. We're really not sure who they are. Are they investors? Are they locals? Are they seasonal people that are not full-time residents? We really need to have the facts in hand. And so I've made the suggestion that you can do an internal data mining, and you can find out exactly who owns what. Are they locals? Are they seasonal? Or are they investors? Because I think that's what the big fear is, that you think that they're taking away from long-term renting, but we really aren't. Because if you look at your own housing plan, next slide. So we need to find out exactly what are the impacts, right? So I think that's a pretty easy fix. But we've got a short-term rental license, which is very layered, right? The layering is the short-term, the shore road allowance. But before I get to that one, because that one's really important, I'd like to read a quote from a gal by the name of Nicole Whiting. She's the executive director for the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization. And she made this quote at County in May of 2024. She said, "We really try to build the destination through our people, the stories of our people, the story of why they've chosen to be in this sector, why they've chosen to live and work in the area, and communicating that out to the visitor through content marketing." So I want to just change our focus from having such a, I don't know, not such a great view of our short-term renters and the licensees, right? So we really need to come back and focus on the fact that Haliburton is a host community. Dysart is a host community for tourism, right? We need to start thinking about people as visitors to our community and those that actually rent out their places as hosts, and to not be so sticky about who are these people? Do we want them? Do we like them? You know, can we go to the next slide? So really, after all of these years hearing about that we need to regulate and license, the primary issue is noise control. And that problem renter is no different than a problem neighbor. We all party, You know, we have noisy things happening and we're not always happy with what's going on. But Dave and I have had 2 years of lived experience next door to an Airbnb. And our neighbors ran an Airbnb from 2020 to 2022, and they didn't do it to make money. They did it because they were out of work during the COVID period. So they did it to actually maintain their home and maintain their mortgage. And so we don't always know who these people are. And I think it's time that we actually got to know who they were and who they are and what their circumstances are. We have no idea what their financial thing are. We don't know whether a lot of the cottage owners are local. We don't know if, you know, people have decided that, hey, I'd like to have a cottage, but, you know, we've heard stories in the last 6 months about people having a difficult time making their mortgage when some of these regulations are just over the top. So can you go to the next one, Lori? Keep going. I think a housing dashboard is really important. Keep going, Lori. And I know you've had an opportunity to read some of this, so keep going. We're back here to the evidence-based inventory. And you need to prove that there's an investor class versus a family, right? Okay, keep going. The other thing about, if you can go back one, just go back one, please, to Richard's options. That focus group by Richards in 2022, they barely mentioned long-term rental at all. And so even the Richards report was based on an academic report that assumed and made the connection that it was taking away from long-term. But even the Richards options report didn't really state that. Okay, next slide, please. So I'm recommending a survey, which I've given Mallory a sample survey so we can continue, because we want to know who these folks are. We want to know what their contributions are. And so what's interesting about doing a survey is that, Murray, I think you'll share, you'll know what this is, right? Very familiar with that. Well, this is the Mesquabi Lake plan. They started doing this in 2012. And I think it was completed in 2015. Well, part of their whole survey, they actually included this question. 79% of the property owners, 20 seasonal versus 21% that indicated, sorry, beg your pardon. The property owner survey indicated that 79% of the property owners are seasonal versus 21% that indicated full-time. However, many property owners have reported that they are considering moving to the lake permanently, and thus full-time occupancy could reach up to 38%. Property owners use their property an average of 130 days, 54% use it in the winter, and approximately 8% of owners rent their dwellings. And it was reported that this rate could increase to approximately 12% in the future, which I'm sure is up quite a large number. But they had the foresight to ask that question back in 2012, 2015. So that's something that we really need to take a look at. Next slide, please. Keep going. Keep going. So here's another issue with the Richards options report, is they really didn't take the rental agencies' voices to any extent as to what was the impact going to be with the regulations coming down the pipe. So that's pretty unfortunate. But hopefully some of that can change as you guys do a postmortem and really discuss what these regulations have actually accomplished. Next slide, please. That was the community feedback. I can't really read it right now, but this came from the options report as well. And these were the rental agencies that participated. And they also talked to Airbnb. Again, they were more footnoted. Next slide. The thing with the rental agencies is that trust has already been established with them. They've been around a long time, and yet they've suffered the most. Next slide, please. So I'd like to stay on this one for a few minutes if I could. I've taken 3 early adopter companies and how they changed the marketplace. Creative destruction, right? So Expedia, they started as only airline tickets. And so by the same token, they didn't get rid of bricks and mortar. There's still travel agencies that are still doing work. Then we have Amazon. And of course, if you look at their first logo, it was all about books. Well, they disrupted everything. And part of the reason they're billionaires is because they have government contracts for data storage. And then Airbnb, does anybody know their origin story? Are you familiar with Airbnb's origin story at all? Well, it's pretty wonderful because back in 2007, 2008, they needed help paying their rent in San Francisco, right? And so they decided that they would rent out their living room on an air mattress, and gave them breakfast in the morning. But what was astonishing about it is because they did it because there was a design conference in San Francisco and the hotels were all booked. So did they ever hit a niche market? And look at where they are today, $11 to $16 billion worth. So at the same time, what did they do? They disrupted hotels, they disrupted a lot of different things, but that was the free market at work, right? Next slide. And so the interesting thing about B&B and what made me laugh a little bit about it is because back then I was working for a global computer company where we had companies, we had places in North America, Europe, and China. So every January, we would have the CES show, the Consumer Electronics Show. And that's where Airbnb found its place, is because when you have these shows, hotels are booked, nobody can get rooms, and that's what happened. This is one of the reasons that Airbnb did it as well as they did. Okay. Now, let's talk about the barnacles. I love this one. I call them barnacles because they stick to you. That first group, they're just the chronic complainers. Anything that goes on in county, anything that goes on in town, you get the letters to the editors, and they're just chronic complainers. The next set of barnacles are the activists. And they're the ones like you, Lynx, that just spoke here and talked about, you know, their work. So they can make changes. And they can change development patterns. And I've given you a couple of examples that I'm sure you're quite familiar with the harbor and development. No? Not familiar?
Yeah.
That's Grass Lake.
Yeah. We know.
And then the last one is the lobbyists. And that's the hat that I'm wearing today, is I'm a lobbyist for changing, correcting, taking a really deep dive into what the different layers are for this license, because really it's just a simple business. And yet we've layered it with so much stuff, right? And I think a good example of lobbying would be the carbon tax. Thank God it's gone, right? But that took a lot of work, pushing, right?
You got about 2 minutes there, no?
Thank you. Next slide, please, about regulatory burdens. This was really something that Prime Minister Harper brought in 2012. And you've heard Pierre Poilievre talk about it a lot, which is a dollar in, a dollar out, right? Why are we doing the things that we're doing? What is the purpose of the regulation? Does the regulation serve the public interest, given the role of the municipality? Is the regulatory intervention necessary? What is the expected economic cost to the regulation, etc.? So, as I've mentioned to you in your email and talked to you a little bit about, can you go to the next slide, please? That's the layering. People need to understand in our community what the layering looks like. So we have the we have the license. We have the Shore Road allowance, license of occupation. That's just simple rent. And then we have the codes of conduct. Not only do we have a rental code of conduct, but we have a host code of conduct. And then, of course, we have the MAT tax and then the shore line health report, right? So next slide, please. So this visual is really important because it really tells you and outlines what it is that this road allowance, license of occupation, rent is all about. So you can see the picture of pre-licensing and post-licensing. So now we've taken people who rent their cottages that have a shore road allowance, and we're now segregating them and we're discriminating against them. Next slide, please. As you can see here, I've taken a little snapshot of a map from our lake area, Trappers Trail. These are the only cottages that actually have a shore road allowance. So I've just hypothetically, arbitrarily taken one lot and said, this person is renting. They are now going to do a license of occupation. And yet 85% of the county, or perhaps Dysart, people don't own their shore road allowance at all. And yet here we are, we want to charge them just because they're going to rent their cottage, just because they're going to be a host to our tourism industry. This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Because if you're going to do this for those that are renting and offering their hospitality in our community, then you have to do it for everybody, right? Next slide, please.
You're just about done.
You're very impatient today, Mayor.
Well, I am, because you know what? You could go on here for half an hour,
I'm sure I could.
so I'm not gonna let you, okay?
Of course not.
I want you to finish right away. Or I'll shut that.
Well, I object to that, sir, because
Well, you can
am I-
object all you like. I'm the chair and you
Pardon?
were told 10 minutes.
I can't hear you. 16 minutes? Okay.
That's a lot over 10, isn't it?
It is over 10. Ulink's got 17, but I'm not quibbling. Anyhow, I just think that we need to start thinking about people and that we treat people well and we just have respect for one another, right? So what I've given you in the handouts is the Gravenhurst license,
Yeah, we got that. Yeah.
because they've treated it like a business. They haven't layered anything. And in terms of the this licensing layered product, you just have made the cost of entry so high, it's prohibitive.
Look.
And our whole
Thank-
attitude towards our tourism needs to change, and we just need to
That's
be
your opinion,
happy.
ma'am, and there's a lot of other opinions. on
I'm
it.
sure there are.
Great.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
you.
Thank you,
Thank-
council.
Thank you for the good information.
Thank you.
One thing Marie said in that report that, you know, a lot of it was financially based, like we're trying to overcharge, which I kind of disagree with, because all the other townships are charging that tax 4%. And we're trying just to cover the base of what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to impose more undue regulation to the whole thing. But again, when we represent our constituents and we hear a lot of complaints about noise, fireworks and garbage and parking and everything else, it's on our shoulders to try and come up with a system to make it cohesive for everybody on that note. And it doesn't fit everybody is the problem. Number one. Number two, you put together a framework to try and absolve these problems. And I can honestly say some of them aren't perfect, where you're trying to absolve one problem and you create four, but the pretense of us moving forward to try and absolve that type of a problematic system is ongoing. So again, I can appreciate what you've put together there and your passion for it, and just know that I feel as part of this council that we're not just bulldozing everybody and doing our own thing here. This has been a lot of thought put into it and everything else on that note. So again, I'll review what you just handed out here today and have a look at it. And
Well, I
take it for information.
really appreciate that, Pat. Because one of my recommendations, as you well know, is that I think you really need to have a roundtable. You really need to do the survey. You need to have a roundtable with a lot of the stakeholders here Just to
We-
talk
we-
about
we've
it
done
all.
that at the start, and the problem is that the whole
But
process
you're
is
in
already,
the process
the
now,
process
right?
is already underway on
Yeah.
that note. To have everybody sit down and revisit this whole thing is gonna take a year on that note.
I don't think so.
I do. On that note, again, in terms of Dysart, we processed a pile of STR applications far ahead of, far as the other townships, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
And
we've
I'm
got
not
more
be-
than all of them put together.
I'm not belittling anybody else on that note. We take a very advanced step in terms of trying to make this work for everybody on that note. So again, we take the information from our constituents.
Yep.
We have a look at it and we discuss it. And like I said, the facts are the facts. And again, we put together a framework to try and make it cohesive for everybody on that note. So.
Well, if I could, if you would give me the space to do so, with your Shore Road allowance license of occupation, you have kept people segregated. You have kept them isolated
That's
from
a
one
whole nother
another,
conversation
right?
for a whole nother time in terms of
Okay, but
there's
it's all-
viability issues.
I hear you.
that Go along with that, but anyway, that's a
I
whole
I
other
hear you.
conversation.
I hear you.
Anyhow,
Thank you for your consideration.
thanks. Not a worry.
Okay, resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Toby Sutton regarding the Dysart et al. Short-term rental licensing program.
Okay, mover and seconder, Nancy and Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Severance proposal, Jeff, Chris?
Nope, just coming on here. Thank you, everyone. So this is for the lands of Grierson. The proposal involves severing a portion of the subject property and conveying it to the benefiting lands for the purpose of a lot addition. No new lots are being created and no development is being proposed at this time. Access to the subject property is through Growler Lake Drive, which is an existing private road utilizing the existing driveway that extends to the proposed to the proposed lot. There are no council circulation requirements to the Planning Act for severance proposal. However, internal municipal departments were circulated, and comments to date are from the county, which, with respect to the proposal of consent application, county staff would require 2 copies, original copies of the complete application form, 2 hard copies of the proposed severance sketch, and the required application fee of $1,500 and $1,540 at the time of application with the county. And with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment, county staff have no concerns with the application, provided that any natural features are adequately addressed to ensure future development is compatible with the features. And staff would recommend that council support the general principle of the proposed severance, subject to the conditions identified in the report and additional input received through the public consultation process.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, Mallory?
We do have the agent in attendance. I don't know if there's any additional comments.
Additional comments?
There we go. Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
There you go.
No additional comments from myself. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing from council? Okay. Okay, resolution.
So be it resolved that council support the general principle of a severance proposal for file number D00-SV-2025-002 Lands of Grierson, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Next.
The next one is for severance proposal. This is for D00SV-2025-005 Lands of Halliburton Land Development Corp. The proposal was submitted to sever the subject property into 1 severed lot and 1 retained lot. The subject property is adjacent to Koshlong Lake, designated lake that is a lake trout lake that is at capacity and at recreational carrying capacity. Municipal policy states that for highly sensitive lake trout lakes, new lots or development are not permitted unless specific criteria are met, including tile fields being outside of the 300 meters from a lake and drainage direction into a basin of another lake that is not at capacity. The proposed lot is a back lot, meaning, meaning it is within the shorelands, but does not front directly onto a lake. Official plan policies require backlots to meet specific conditions for permanent residential use only, must front on a year-round maintained public road, minimum size of 100 meter frontage and 12 hectares of area, and tile fields should be outside of the shorelands or outside of the watershed of the adjacent lake. Because the property is in proximity to Koshlong Lake, the municipal official plan requires that a detailed site plan showing development envelope, environmental impact report, or study, sorry, and a site evaluation report. And the proposal must demonstrate that the lots contain a suitable building envelope, that development will not contribute to the capacity related impacts on the lake. The required documentation is incorporated in the recommendation conditions presented in this report for council's consideration. Again, there are no circulation requirements for Severn's proposal. However, internal municipal departments were circulated for comment, and at the writing of this report, the following comments have been received. The County of Haliburton identifies that in the county's official plan, environmental impact study will be required to address deer wintering habitat and to identify and assess other environmental features on site to demonstrate that future development of the severed lot will have no negative impact on the feature or functions. Any future septic system must be located a minimum of 300 meters from the shorelands of Koshlong Lake, or alternatively, if technical study could demonstrate that the lands within the 300 buffer do not drain into Koshlong Lake, then may be appropriate for development of the septic system in that area. When the subject property is within proximity to a neighboring municipality, the municipal policies require comments from that jurisdiction. Therefore, Highlands East has provided the following comments. Koshlong Lake is cold water lake at capacity for residential development, and their official plan policies require that no new lot creation should be permitted unless the tile fields are located 300 meters from the high water mark of the lake, or a study that determines that any proposed tile field does not drain into the Koshlong Lake Basin. This area is mapped as a deer wintering concentration area, which would require the new lot creation exceed bylaw minimums to ensure that there aren't any negative impacts on habitat. And the Highlands East policies would require that environmental impact, that includes a lake impact assessment. The application proposes, again, that it's for one severed lot and one retained lot, and staff recommend that council support the general principle of the proposed severance, subject to conditions identified in the report and any additional input received through the public consultation process. And I believe that the applicants are in attendance to speak to their application.
They're fairly big lots, aren't they?
Yes, they're fair size.
30, yeah, so they're, are they all right with those conditions Highlands East have got in there? That's a long ways, 300.
That is the requirements. Sorry, that is the requirements of the policies that you need to have that. So it's for a septic system. So the bed needs to be outside of the 300 meters from a lake. So their development, they just need to address and demonstrate that that septic system is outside of that 300 meters, or if they can demonstrate through a study that it doesn't drain into Koshlong Lake, then or grading or drainage towards Koshlong Lake, then they may be able to go closer, but that is up to a study to demonstrate that.
Can you meet those? Yeah.
It's on the other side of the road anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know where it is. It's pretty good lots. They're good lots. Yeah. Okay,
And that lot doesn't have any water.
no. So that shouldn't be an issue then. Okay, resolution, Mallory.
Chris, would you like me to read one and then get the mover and seconder and pass and then read the next one? Or are you going to do a separate report for the next one?
I'll do a separate report for
Okay,
the
I
next
just
one,
wanted, I just saw it was the same applicant, so I just wanted to double check.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, so first one, be resolved that council support the general principle of a severance proposal for file number D00-SV-2025-005, Lands at Haliburton Land Development Corporation, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carry. Okay.
Okay, thank you. The next one is for D00SV 2025-006, again for Lands of Haliburton Lands Development Corp. Excuse me. So this is for proposed severance as well. The proposal was submitted to sever the subject property into 3 severed lots and 1 retained lot. The proposed lot generally provide adequate frontage and area under municipal policy. However, there are 2 deficiencies. Lot 1 and 2 do not meet the minimum lot area for rural type 1, so therefore zoning would be required just to recognize the reduced areas and frontage. Sorry, just for the reduced area. And the retained lot does not meet the minimum frontage requirement. It only partially fronts onto Koshlong Lake Road. The rest of the frontage is onto Wanakita Road, which is a private road and not counted under the municipal policy for frontage. Therefore, again, a zoning bylaw amendment would be required just to recognize that frontage. Despite these deficiencies, staff consider lot sizes and frontage to be appropriate in the rural context. They are consistent with surrounding lot fabric. They maintain a low density rural character. They represent compatible form and rural residential development. And again, the zoning amendment will be required to recognize the reduced area of the lot frontage of the area and the lot frontage and applicable setbacks for the intended use. An environmental impact study and an environmental evaluation report is required under the policy of the municipal policy. The EIS/SER will confirm the suitability of the land for rural residential use, identify appropriate building locations, and recommend mitigation measures to protect the natural heritage features identified on the property and any species at risk. Koshlong Lake Road currently runs through the property. While the municipality maintains this road, it is technically a trespass road over private land. Public Works has requested that the applicant survey and convey a 20-meter right-of-way, which would be 10 meters each side of the center line to the municipality. This will ensure formal municipal ownership, clarify long-term maintenance responsibilities, and satisfy frontage requirements for the retained lot. Again, there are no circulation requirements for severance proposal. However, the municipality had circulated to internal departments, and the following comments have been received. Again, Municipal Public Works has requested that the applicant survey and convey the 20-meter right-of-way to the municipality. The County of Haliburton has provided that in accordance with section 5.3.2.2 of the official plan, that environmental impact study be required to address deer wintering habitat and identify and assess other environmental features on the site to demonstrate that future development of this severed lots will have no negative impact on features or their functions. And staff recommend that council support the general principle of the proposed severance subject to the conditions identified in the report and any additional input received through the public consultation process.
Yep, did you have your hand up? No? No? Okay, are you all right with those things or?
Mr. Mayor, my name is Jason Schwartz. I'm Tom's partner on this. I'm also a lawyer. And I've had the opportunity before the application for the severance was made to discuss the road issue with Ed Velblum, who's your counsel. We discussed it at great length. Tom had some very serious concerns when we bought this property about potential liability. And in fact, not long after it closed, there was a bus accident on one of the corners on Kushok. And so we basically said, guys, you got to assume this road or we're going to put something up to stop the traffic. And that's going to upset a lot of people, including Highlands East. And after some discussions, Ed said that he would recommend to council that we split the cost. So I went ahead and I found a surveyor that did this at a remarkably good price for this to create the reference plan that we need to register in order to convey the title to Dysart. And that was I think it was 7,200, Tom. And I've asked that we split it, not that you should pay it, but this was missed when you guys took that.
Very good of you.
And I thought it was reasonable in the circumstances, but it was ahead of the application. And now suddenly we've been stuck with somebody saying, hey, wait a minute, you want to do this, you got to pay for that. I didn't think that was fair. So I'm back suggesting that we go back to what we agreed to or discussed.
How long, how many feet along the road? A kilometer road.
Like it's all that whole section on that last lot we've been talking about, all the way until it is Highland Road is all ours.
Okay. Okay, so $3,600 is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Good price for both.
it was a great place. It was the best price. We got a number of quotes.
Oh, yeah, they'd be 3 times that.
Yeah, and they're actually, so you know, Mr. Mayor, they're actually out there right now completing that reference plan. We went ahead anyway.
Pretty dangerous, right?
No, because, well, I didn't think it was,
No,
'cause,
okay.
you know, I think council's pretty reasonable.
You've just watched 2 or 3 hours of it, you should know. Not reasonable, depends who you are. How you act. Okay, all right, so, I guess we could,
Does it help that I'm the lawyer for the Halliburton Huskies?
oh, yeah, that's a big help. Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, you know what the request is then. I don't, again, like, I don't know what to say because we don't have a budget for that kind of stuff, but I think we can consider it for sure.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Okay,
So do you want that in the resolution or do you want to consider it and get back on that one?
yeah, I'll put it in the resolution that we consider funding $3,600 for clear title to the road. In the desert, whatever that is. I guess you'd have to survey your property anyway, wouldn't you? No. Can you give us another lot so we can sever something off on it? Okay, all right, Mallory, have you got it?
So are we, if we're just considering, it doesn't need to be in a resolution. If we're directing, then it does.
We have to get it approved for sure, so.
Yeah, so do you want it that the municipality fund $3,600 for a clear title to, it's Coshlong Road?
Yep.
Okay,
We need a lot in concession in there, I guess. Concession 1, part lots 11 to 13.
yeah. 1 second. Okay, so the conditions are all the same, I assume, on this severance proposal, and then I can add at the end that further directs the municipality fund $3,600 for clear title to Coshlong Road. This isn't something we've budgeted for, so this is an unbudgeted expense that will have to be accounted for at year end. Okay. So I'm just going to read the standard. Be it resolved that council support the general principle of a severance proposal for file number D00-SV-2025-006, lands of Halliburton Land Development Corporation, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report. And further, that the municipality further directs the municipality fund $3,600 for clear title to Coshlong Road. This is an unbudgeted expense that will be accounted for at year end.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carm and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Fire department report. Dan, coming on?
Sorry, I'm trying. I'm just a little bit slow there. I could hear you. Well, thank you very much for having me in here once again. General staff report. So as you can see, we've had a total of 57 call-outs for the month of July. And as reported, our total incidents as at that point was up approximately 46 as compared to July of 2024. Just comment, we happened to hit call number 365 this morning, being 365 days of the year. We are well ahead once again. But just do want to specify, I was doing some quick math just to give you a better idea. In the past, traditionally, medical calls have been somewhere around 40 to 50% of our actual call-outs, assisting with paramedic services. And since they have changed over to their new system, I've noticed in the last 3 months that we've been in 30% ballpark. So we are reducing calls in that aspect. Unfortunately, we seem to be making them up other grounds through hydro calls and alarm calls and such. Luckily, not so much with the actual full-out fires. So I'm happy to be able to convey that, and I just wanted to let you know where we're at with the new dispatching services, how it's affecting the fire department.
That's good.
As well, the firefighters, we did our door-to-door annual smoke alarm campaign. We try and go out one night a year and catch as many of the permanent and non-permanent residents as possible. We do focus on more of the traditional builds, some of the older ones that didn't have hardwired alarms put in originally, and we like to make sure they're brought up to date. And we do try and get to different areas every year, and every, say, approximately 5 to 10 years, we actually get back to the same spots again. And we make sure we do as many visits as possible door to door, but we also leave flyers and have the neighbors spread the words that we're there, and they can contact us for a follow-up with information. So happy to say that in all the houses we did visit this year, we only had 5 residences that were non-compliant, and a couple of them were as simple as just their batteries had not been changed. So very lucky and happy to see that, and 2 of them were actually carbon monoxide, and people with the smoke alarm campaigns, they're getting to know that, but a lot of people still don't know the proper rules for carbon monoxides. I think that's good for my regular report, unless there's any questions on that.
Okay, any questions? Yeah.
Dan, did you have many complaints during the fire ban, and did you lay any charges anywhere?
I have laid out 1 set of charges. We actually been very lucky. Complaints, most people are actually calling ahead and inquiring about what's happening. And so I do want to bring that up, that there are several different questions that are kind of gray areas in the way our current open air bylaw is listed. And so I want to discuss it with the other fire chiefs, and I'm hoping to bring that back to you in the fall here to have a chance to review our open air burning bylaw so we're more clear on what is and isn't allowed. So right now, because the temperature's dropping, I'm getting a lot of people asking if they can use their wood stoves inside their cottages. And so that is definitely a concern that there's some misinterpretations one way or the other on that kind of information.
The fire ban's still on though, isn't it?
It is. We were talking about it yesterday morning, and we are looking at potential rain, some from yesterday and hopefully more tomorrow. So we do plan again to talk again this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Hopefully the weather being predicted is going to allow us a chance to feel we can lift it safely. But we are going back to the long-term fire indexes, and the drought code and the under layers are still quite dry. So that's what our main concern. The surface is finally getting damp. So.
Okay. Good. Any other questions for Dan? Okay, resolution, Mallory.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for July 2025.
Mover and seconder. Fireman Walt, all in favor? Carry. Okay, bylaw. Fire dispatch communications.
So I'm back to ask for a follow-up. It was last September when I initially requested your support to seek this as an option. The neighboring municipalities are all using Smiths Falls as their dispatching services, and I had asked to your consideration on proceeding with this. Based on the numbers we had, we were looking at up to approximately a $30,000 a year. The price is a little bit higher because the PDI in what's gone on here. And I apologize for the delay. I was hoping that this would be up a lot sooner, but Smiths Falls themselves were in staff negotiations in order to increase their staffing because they're hoping to take on ourselves and maybe even a couple other fire departments. So we're just finally getting to the point now that assuming you approve this, we're able to hopefully get this set up within the next 90 days and still have this ready for the end of the year.
Sounds reasonable. Resolution?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-69, being a bylaw for Fire Dispatch Communication Center Services Agreement with the Corporation of Smiths Falls and the Corporation of the Municipality of Dysart Dolph Fire Department, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder, Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, next, Andrea and Andrew, Shade Shelters, Head Lake Park Playground.
Andrew, you're muted, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. So I was saying, especially after the summer we've had, shade shelters are quite an important item. We recently had a staff member who was at a playground safety inspection course, and shade shelters were talked about at length and about the importance of them, even over some of the play features. The health unit has set out some reports too in the past 2 years about the importance of shade and trying to create spaces for people. So we know, like when you watch the park or the playground on any given day, especially on the berm where the spruce trees are, lots of people sit there to take in the shade and to watch their children. But part of the intent when we're fundraising for the playground was to put in some shade shelters that are, you know, not just trees, but other types of structures. So there's 2 that we're proposing for the area. One is a cantilever shade sail. So it's a single post in the ground. And then it can have some seating and stuff underneath it. And that one's proposed for the area, not where the old privy used to be. So not directly where the old privy was, but on that corner by the swings, so people can see the playground, watch the playground, and sit there. The other that's being proposed is a double pyramid style structure. And both of these, there's images attached to the report. And the pyramid structure would allow for tables underneath and people to sit and you know, have a picnic while watching the kids play or take breaks. In that pyramid style one, those tables could be moved. So something like the Arts and Crafts Festival or another event could take advantage of using those. Now, they don't have walls like you see when they erect tents in the park, but it could provide shade for those events as well. There's 2 color options. One is well, there's more than 2 color options, but we're proposing either a sand color or the green. And looking to council's thoughts on that. And they do withstand wind. So I talked to that they have some of these at Dynamic Earth in Sudbury, so up by the Big Nickel, and they've been up for, I think 3-4 years without any issues to do with wind. So that's a much windier spot than the location that we're proposing. They can be they have a quick release system, so the sails can be removed in the winter and then put back on again in the spring. They can be tightened over the years as they get a bit more flex. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
So they're like a big umbrella then?
Yes and no. Like they have an umbrella, like the umbrellas that we see, it doesn't go up and down. Once it's up, it stays up. They're fastened to the hardware. They have posts running to give them support. And it's a special type of material that's used. So they won't lift off like you see when we get a windstorm with umbrellas. Sometimes they invert, but these would stay in place.
Okay, yeah.
Andrea, if I might be wrong, but there's still some money in that fund for the park fundraising stuff that will cover this, which is great. How many of those can we get at what number is the biggest thing? If we're going to spend 50 grand on one sun shelter and we change the design and we're able to get 6 or something like that, it's just getting the biggest bang for a dollar for that.
So I'm waiting on a quote. I had a quote back in the spring, but it was when they were having a sale and it was just on the one. I had contacted the company asking for a quote. She's working on it for me. It didn't come in time for the council budget. The cantilever one was the one that I had a price for, and I believe it was around $7,000. Obviously, the double pyramid would cost more. We have the funds within the playground fundraising budget and for seating as well. This company that I pictured this shade shelters from are part of the Canoe program. So with Canoe, we don't have to go to tender, and we'll also get a discount. So she's the representative from the company is working on all of that for us.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Did anybody think about maybe putting up a few gazebos? I mean,
So
they would-
gazebos have been talked about. As you know, and some of you are familiar, when the playground was put in, we had to put in screw piles, if that's the correct terminology, to support some of the structures. And I know years ago, I think the Rotary Club did some digging over to the east side of the playground
Yeah, they did.
with the thought of putting in a pavilion, but it was determined that the ground wasn't the best for that. So that's why we were looking at these more with a single post, or the ones that have a bit more flex versus a pavilion. Now, that being said, the playground committee, if there ever is a desire from council and there's funds left over, plus they've expressed a desire down the road and as a phase 3 or 4 to the east side to put a big pavilion, if that's council's desire, and to help fundraise for that. With, like, obviously there'd be some funds remaining, but not enough. But when we watch the playground, a lot of people tend to watch from the west side and where the pathway is. So that's why the proposal is for these two first.
I hope these don't turn out to be a shelter for people staying there at night.
No, well, that's why there's no walls and nothing like that. Pigeons or anything can make shelter in either.
Okay.
Does council have a color preference of green versus the sand color?
Green, same as the grass.
Okay, I'll note that just in the minutes, just so we know.
And that's just me. What's everybody else think? Green. Okay.
Okay. I can read the resolution if we're ready.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that council approves the placement of permanent shade shelters on municipally owned property, including parkland, provided that they have met the approval of staff and meet current standards for the park. And further, that council approved 2 shade shelters and seating/benches to be placed at the Head Lake Park Playground, to be paid for using funds raised by the Head Lake Park Fundraising Committee.
Mover, Pat, seconded by Carm. All in favor? Carried. Now, sun shelter for the 2 tennis courts.
That's correct. Yeah. So another, this one was a letter that was brought forward to council. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to read that, but it was from users of the tennis and the pickleball players group. They're looking to put a permanent type shade shelter at the tennis courts in the pavement area that's between the tennis courts and the parking lot. So since receiving this letter, I have heard from the tennis social group that they weren't consulted about this and they have a system that works well for them. So I've tried to include as much information as I have about this. If a permanent shelter were to be approved, we're just asking that it gets staff, that it's, approved by municipal staff, the location is appropriate and it meets the building code. So you can see in one of the images, one of them is from the tennis and pickleball user groups. They were looking at a gazebo style. Obviously we can't purchase something from Wayfair or Amazon. It has to meet the building code. And they show in their one picture, they show the proposed location. We would suggest that it be moved away from the entrance gate slightly to the right. And then the tennis social group included what they do. They have an umbrella, a double umbrella system, and they attach it to the fence. They put it up when they play. So they play 3 days a week, an organized group, and they store it in the tennis shed and they bring it out and then they put it away at the end. So they're recommending even something like that for the other group.
That makes sense.
So I don't know where you'd like to go with this. I just gave the information.
Okay, so there's a division in between these 2 groups then.
The letter came from the tennis and pickleball user groups, but from the one user group, they're saying they weren't consulted. So I would say, yes, there's a division.
Well, tell them that when they get their approval that we'll go ahead. Make them consult. I mean, you can't make them, but they need to get together on this. Yeah. Can't get a whole bunch of these things stuck all around. We won't hardly have time to cut the grass or get around them all.
This one would be on pavement if it were to go forward.
And they put it away at the end of
the tennis social group does. So the one consideration, so the tennis social group is there 3 days a week from 8 a.m. to noon. So there's shade during that time frame. In the one image, you see a bit of a tarp. I think that was what a pickleball group was doing. But then there is the rest of the day where there's other users of the park that aren't associated with either one of these groups who maybe would benefit from shade. Again, it's just trying to get the parties to all agree and put something in place. But as mentioned in the previous report, shade is becoming a really important thing in public spaces.
Don't know what to do with that. So we could end up with two then, one for the ball and one for the tennis court.
Well, I think what would happen is you'd end up with one on the exterior that would be maybe used more by pickleball players, but the tennis players like their system because somebody doesn't have to leave the courts to join in. They can circulate through quicker. It puts less downtime because they said they sometimes have quite a few people waiting to play. So they've modified their game style. They don't play a 2-on-2 match for a full set or for a full game. They'll play one set and then switch into other people so they can keep circulating through.
So Andrew, even if one group paid for a shade shelter, it would be outside of the courts. And then if the tennis social group still wanted to use their temporary structure, it would be attached inside the courts.
Yeah.
So this is a no cost situation. If they can find a solution that works with staff, this would be no cost to council. So it's up to council whether they're agreeable to having a shade shelter outside of the courts.
They have to be green.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the process too. I can put that right in the minutes if council wants to, that it has to, go with the aesthetics of the park, be green.
Yeah, is there any chance then that, I know it's a fair distance away from the playground equipment and where we're gonna put these shade shelters, if we had the same type of sun shelter throughout the park, it would all tie together. You're not gonna go with gazebos if you're going with these umbrella. I just think it would
This discussion might come back because I don't think they propose to spend as much as what those cost. Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure what they're willing to spend on it. So it might be a further discussion. Council approves it, but it's got to follow all of our rules, and then it might come back again because it's just out of their budget. They might find that they're not willing to pay that.
If you want to tell us what to do, you pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to stop paying for everything, folks, whether we like it or not. So,
so correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. The shades that are going in the park are funded by fundraising, not Dysart, correct?
That's correct. Those ones are fundraised money that we have from the playground fundraising. And it was always said that once the playground was done, we would come back with some options for shade if the funds were available, and the funds are available.
So I agree with Walt. I don't know why we can't tell them it has to match, because we're not paying for it anyway. So they come back and say, well, this is your rules. Well, we didn't pay for it. The park people set the precedents. You got to follow it.
It has to be green.
And it has to be similar to what we're using. We can't have an apple and an orange.
Yeah, we don't want 2 or 3 different looking things down. Are you clear as mud on that, Andrew?
I'm clear. Once I get the quotes from the ones for the playground, I can share those with the tennis and pickleball group.
Okay. Are we ready now, Mallory?
So I can say, provided that the design and location are approved by municipal staff and match, should I say match the shade shelters going in at the Head Lake Park playground? The shade shelters going in at the Head Lake Park.
Yeah, it could be of similar design and color theme.
Yeah.
In design, yeah. Yeah, it says approve it that the design and location are approved by municipal staff and match the shade shelters going into the Head Lake Park playground. So they have to go through staff anyway. I don't know, the shade shelters, Andrea, that get erected over here, are they a building code matter as well?
They fall under the playground.
Okay, so I'm going to take out the building code stuff because we're not using a gazebo. So I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to take out the permit fees thing. So this is how it reads right now. Be it resolved that council approves the proposal on behalf of the tennis court tennis and pickleball user groups to erect a permanent sun shelter at the tennis courts, provided the design and location are approved by municipal staff and match the shade shelters going in at the Head Lake Park playground.
If that's okay, yeah. Okay, Barry and, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
And with that report, oh no, never mind, sorry.
this is the climber at West Guilford.
On Monday, August 18th, staff completed an assessment of the West Guilford Community Center playground. As a result of this assessment, the following recommendations were made in accordance with the CSA safety standards for children's public use playground equipment. 1, the climber shall be removed within 30 days of the non-compliant state. Start the process of budgeting in 2026 for a new small CSA standard approved climber suitable for ages 18 months to 5 years old. And when in the planning process as well, the swings shall be resurfaced with engineered wood fibers. The safety of our community and children in public play spaces is paramount. Therefore, the following recommendations must be adhered to. Staff will prepare secure quotes for a small play structure replacement in West Guilford for 2026 budget considerations.
So Andrew, how come this is all of a sudden, like, did something fail on it, or is this they've changed the code, we can't keep it no more? Like, what brought this on?
Well, we kept it as long as we could. We noticed it was wearing down over the last few years, but also the codes have changed a little bit for the safety, and pretty much we kept this climber as long as we could. And this is the last old climber that the township currently owns. Everything else has been updated. And it's just the one climber that's there. The swings are new. The other rope climber are new. It's just that one small climber.
Oh, it's not taking everything, that's just one part.
Yeah.
Okay, because it does get a lot of use. Like, I drive by there 10, 20 times, 30 times a day sometimes, and there's always kids and their parents there, like, every day. Like, it gets a lot of use.
Get a lot of use.
It gets a lot of use.
Okay.
So Andrew, maybe when you're bringing into the budget on this, when it costs, maybe we should let the center know, so maybe we can put some feelers out. Maybe we might be able to help out with some of the budget on it too.
Sure.
I think we could also keep our eyes out for grants in the meantime too, knowing that it needs to be.
Yeah, because I
done
think
as
it's really
well.
important, for
Mhm.
Gifford doesn't have much, and it's something for the kids.
Yeah, we're talking probably more $15,000 to $25,000, and it's something staff could install. We wouldn't need the contract out the installation also, so it would save half.
Okay.
Hello. I just think every time I drive by park in Halliburton or a lot of other parks, especially in Halliburton, it just seems that there's young adults on the kids equipment, and I don't know how we stop it. I know you can't, but I don't know, but something's got to be done because eventually it's going to break. They're not built to have, say, me on that swing or on the zip line. So I don't know how, like, I think something's got to be done about it. At least we try. I know that it's something that is tough to police or whatever, but I don't know what the answer is, but I think it should be talked about because we spent a lot of money and it's built for the kids, and eventually they're going to break down.
I think the bigger use is at night. Yeah.
You want me to read the resolution?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Be it resolved that council acknowledges the information contained in this report and directs staff to remove the climber structure at the West Guilford Community Center Playground prior to September 18th, 2025.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Barry. Need to break.
Oh, we have one more item in,
Yeah, well, deal with this and then you can go.
okay, yeah. So is that you, Andrea, the fundraiser?
Yes.
Perfect.
So I received a email from, or I talked to Kelly Preston and then she sent an email. This is something Pat had brought up at the last meeting. She's a member of the Halliburton Highlands Health Hospital Foundation and is looking to host a fundraiser benefit in Head Lake Park, either the 3rd or 4th Thursday in September. So her first choice is the 3rd Thursday, but if it's forecasting terrible rain, then to push it to the 4th Thursday. And the idea was to have a catered dinner fundraiser in the park. And so she's looking for permission to host that event, and then that we waive the rental fee of $250 per day, seeing as this is a fundraising event for the hospital.
Okay, resolution in, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that council approves the request from Kelly Preston to host a fundraiser benefit for Halliburton Highlands Hospital Foundation in Head Lake Park, and directs Kelly to work with staff to ensure the appropriate permits are completed, and further directs that the rental fee of $250 per day be waived for this fundraising event.
Okay, mover and seconder, Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carrie, thanks. There you go, Walt.
Murray, just,
Yeah.
go ahead, Walt. Just want to talk to them about that notice of motion I put there a while ago. Both Andrea and it was regarding the cutting of the brush and
Yeah.
the tag outers along the lakefront. Just want to make sure that there's some movement going there.
That actually fell between different ones of us because it's falling between departments, because part of it was, Murray had mentioned that part of it was up by Timber Mart there that was looking to be
Well,
cut.
down
So,
the highway.
Yeah.
so Rob was looking to see maybe what equipment might be able to help with that. In terms of the shoreline along the lake, we need to do some consultation with Carl in terms of our site alteration bylaw, because right now the removal of the vegetation, whether it's tag alders or not, is still contrary to that bylaw. So we just need to get some clarification on that as well.
Interesting. So how do we maintain our lakefront? And on that note, it's a tough one, because again, we got native species of trees that are there now, like willow and maple and everything else. But if we let the whole shoreline grow in, we're gonna be see the lake on that note. So anyways, I'm interested to hear what everybody's got to say, but it's a maintenance issue, not more of a, like, we're not gonna reface the whole lake shore on that note with, rock and mortar and everything else. It's just a maintenance issue, no different than cutting danger trees down or cutting grass on that note. But anyway, that's my comment.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, I was down there on the weekend and you can't even see the lake from the path. So it's kind of the path's useless. That's the whole point, to walk around the lake and see it. And, we don't have to cut every tree, but there's no reason we can't cut it 2 feet and up on a lot of the stuff, leave the stuff on the bottom. That should adhere to the shoreline bylaw, should it not? If we don't take the top, we don't take the bottoms, we just take the.
Yeah, in regards to the ribbon of life and everything like that, that's not really, we're not cutting down bulrushes or smaller shrubs on that note. It's just the tag alders to me that I see. So
we're not thinking of uprooting them, right?
They're gonna grow back next year again.
They're gonna grow.
They'll go up.
We'll be talking about another 5 years again anyway.
Yeah. In the tree cutting bylaw, all those tag alders will be under that size.
Yeah,
I believe.
It's more the site alteration, the shoreline, not the tree bylaw. That's different.
A lot of bylaws, don't we?
Every time we do something, it affects something else.
Yeah, well, me cruising around, every other township looks after the lakefront because it's part of the culture of the town. So anyway, it's maintenance.
So Murray, just we're going into closed at noon, so I'll just give you a reminder of that. So we'll have to split our open agenda in half. So when we break at noon, we'll notice to go into close, and I'm just letting you know because we're 20 minutes away from that now. So
well, let's carry on until we get.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess Carl is next.
Yeah, so we have the building permit report for July. July was a pretty good month with regards to permit numbers, construction value, permit fees. Average daily inspections, however, have dropped significantly. So that was a interesting note on that. Any comments on the monthly inspection report?
So is it small stuff, Carl, or is it?
Well, yeah, so I don't think we had any large projects. We did have one that was a larger project. So basically a sixplex on Maple Avenue, the third phase of that project. So that was our biggest project of the year, but or sorry, of that month. But if you look at our permit fees, just with that one project and several others, we did bring in the most permit fees that we've seen in a month, which is yeah, something noteworthy.
Budget, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you've been doing a lot of inspections then.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of inspections. Like the inspections have dropped in July for sure, but it still seems busy enough with inspections.
That's good. Any questions for Carl's report? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council received the July 2025 building permit activity report as information.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carry. Okay, septic maintenance. Yes?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm here with the July update for our septic maintenance inspection program. In July, 128 inspections were attempted, with 113 completed and 15 recorded as no-shows or incomplete inspections. Results included 34 low-risk properties, 58 medium-risk, and 21 high-risk systems. A total of 110 lake health assessments were also carried out, with most properties scoring above 90, showing generally healthy shoreline conditions across the inspected lakes. These assessments remain educational and aim to promote sustainable shoreline practices in line with Dysart's site alteration bylaw. We are now in our final week of inspections, with the 2025 program scheduled to conclude on Friday, August 29th. And I will return to council in September with our full year-end report. Any questions?
You're in Harcourt Park right now, right?
Yes.
So there are some problems there. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council receives the July 2025 update for the septic maintenance inspection program as information.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Barry. Okay, bylaw update. Ellie?
Good morning. It's for the bylaw update for August. Our number of complaints are holding at standard summer numbers. SDR complaints, we had 8 total in July. At the time of this report, we had 8. We've received 5 since this report was written. So that final number for August is going to be at least 13. We have a number of zoning files that are on hold. I just wanted to comment on that. The majority of our zoning files are for structures within the water setback. Most owners are taking a wait and see approach to see if there's going to be permitted a structure in the water setback. So I just wanted to address that. In terms of short-term rental license numbers, we have approximately 41 identified short-term rentals that are not yet compliant. 25 of those have been identified in the last month. The system is struggling to identify some STRs just based off location. So we've started to go in and manually identify them using our own information and local knowledge. As of now, our dashboard is showing 20 that haven't been identified yet, but we're seeing an average of 9 new ones per month showing up on the system. Questions?
Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have any comments on that. Does anybody else? Anyway, Haley, as you know, I came in to see you the other day. I'm getting some complaints about feral cats in the community and the havoc they're causing. And I know we have a canine, or a canine bylaw, I think, on our dog control. Anyway, I would suggest, it's becoming more of an issue fast on that note. And I think a public education program of making sure that they look after your individual pet is something that we could lead with. And if it doesn't help the situation, then we got to move to putting some rules in place to look after that on that note. And I hate more rules, but if people aren't going to look after their animals on that note, then we have to jump in. Anyway, I'm just wondering if that would be something easy to do on a internet platform with the website, or we put it in the paper or what have you. But anyway, just a couple suggestions to try and absolve that problem.
Yeah, public education, we can absolutely do through social media or the paper. If it gets to the point where we're going to have to pass a bylaw regarding it, I would have to look into what that looks like. I can reach out to some of our neighboring municipalities to see if they have anything. Yeah, regulating cats is going to be a difficult task if we decide to take it on, but a public education is absolutely within our scope right now.
Is that in town, Pat?
Yeah.
Have
That's
that-
my suggestion, do public education first. If it doesn't fly, then we'll have to do something about it. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you.
That's a problem. That can be a real problem.
Yeah.
It says that there's 450 properties in, oh, where did Jess go? Because this is for a septic inspection, 450 properties to be done, and is it right that there's only 128 that have been completed? Where did Jess go?
I think Jess left, but she'll probably be able to clarify that with you after.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so we need a resolution then, Mallory, I guess, on.
Yeah, be it resolved the council accepts a bylaw update report for August 2025 as information.
Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. We got a few minutes yet. So Rob here. Thank you.
I got a question for Dave.
Okay. There it is. Okay, you're there, Dave?
Yes, I am, Mayor. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Okay, my road maintenance status report for July 2025 as information. Construction. So construction, we had Miller Paving. They added the gravel, so that's under the resurfacing for 2025 for Mountain Street, Illman Road, Redkin, and Watts Trail. Also, the surface treatment was completed as of August 11th, 2025 on the same initial roads for the road resurfacing budget for 2025. Bridges and culverts, so culvert replacements on the same roads, Illman, Redkin, Watts, and Mountain. That was done by Dysart and all staff. And we've been obviously putting down dust suppression on all Dysart roads that need it. So we're at 174,202 liters sprayed at 35% calcium chloride. So that's been applied to date. And then we still have some on hand for reapplication. For patching, we've been patching potholes and spray patching application as needed. And tree removal, obviously any danger trees we've been removing. We did complete our roadside mowing with MSI as a contractor. So that was done mid-July, sorry. So that's been completed also. Any questions?
Question?
David, just got, yeah, on my ward there, just a couple of quick things. Did you get a call lately on, with the, Cooperage Road that we did a little replacement there? I don't know if anybody
Yes.
contacted. They were just concerned it was a little bit narrower than it was to start with before the dam washed out. That's
Yes.
one thing.
Yes, so I have received calls on this, and I would like to bring that up also. So we did have a major washout, and that was on Halliburton Lake Road, which Blair Sand and Gravel did attend and helped us out immediately at that point. Those pipes there, Barry, they will be replaced. So we're ordering 3-foot pipes and 40 length sections. So we're going to be putting twin pipes in there.
Okay, awesome. And then one other quick note is, and I'm not sure if this is a county issue but when you come to the T there, right at Fort Irwin, I've had a lot of people, I've had 4 or 5 calls lately about the brush on the, it's hard to see when you come to the stop sign there and you look towards the marina, say, because there's those stop signs there. There's, a lot of truck traffic, and I'm kind of to blame for some of that. So anyway, they just worried or wondering if some brush could be cut back there a little bit. Again, that might be a county issue, not a municipal, but just to let you know.
Yeah, I think Rob wants to pipe in on this one. He looked like he wanted to anyways. I believe at that intersection, that is the county, Barry. I will take a look at that and I'll assess it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. No worries.
Could I comment also on brush at Sir Sam's Road, when you come down and you turn left to go on 14, when you look north, you almost got to pull right out in the middle of the intersection there. There's a huge brush buildup there. Some type of I guess not a tree. It's a big bush. It's very hard to see. And
Okay.
also, I know it's a county issue. And it's 118 and 14. Also turning left to into Halliburton there, and you look towards Guilford. It's really hard. You have to get right out in the intersection there, and people are flying by there at 80 or 90. So I think that should be addressed for sure. I know it's not all our problem, but somehow that's got to be addressed.
Okay. I'll have a look at these areas, Walt, and then I'll report back. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for Dave?
Yeah, I just have, just on Benor Lake Road and Jasmine still doesn't have a stop sign. I just got a message. So, and the other one I think was on Christine was missing a sign. I think
Yeah,
that-
the road signs have been sent off. So I've dealt with Lynn on that. So they were sent off to county county replaces any signs for the initial road signs, except for stop signs. Then we do repairs on stop signs.
So what do I tell him? Because I think it's been 6 months or more that he's been waiting for a stop sign. So
I'll follow up on this and
Okay.
I'll get back to you after I look at this. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I got a question, guys, between Rob and Dave.
Yep.
I was up last week, from the third bridge to Red Pine or the Knees Dam, and the amount of damage on that road, our brand new road from equipment, is crazy. I did talk to you about it, Dave, and we don't have no bylaw for road damage due to construction. Is there something between the two of you can report back to us how we would go about that? Or like, there's a lot of damaged spots in front of every driveway. It's not like it's, there's a damaged spot from the road from winter, or, from winter potholes or whatever. It's wherever work has been done at somebody's cottage or a house, and it's not always new construction. It's just, you can see they've run an excavator down the road, or they've run skid steer on the road, and they've tore it all to hell. And then you guys have patched it looks like, but that's not, it's a brand new road. There's got to be a way we can address this. Hoping.
Well, I mean, it's not an easy fix by any means. If you're talking about implementing a bylaw for road damage, I mean, that would be more suited to bring bylaw into this discussion. I think the problem you're going to have is enforcement in proving who it was and when it was done, that kind of thing. What we kind of rely on now, generally across lower local municipalities for sure, is for driveway permits, I mean, we can take a deposit on that. It's usually nominal, so it probably won't even cover the mobilization fee to repair the road, quite honestly. You could look at reaching out to the insurance company of whoever did the damage, if you can find out who did the damage. Or you could have a bylaw and, have some monetary penalties done through the township, or quite more likely it's going to be civil litigation through the courts. So it's not an easy thing to enforce. You do have to prove guilt, and you get the money kind of that way. So, but it is time intensive. But if it's something that council wants to look at, I mean, I can reach out to bylaw and we can kind of put our heads together and see if something does work.
We used to have something when you took out a building permit that you put a deposit down just for that very reason. And if you damage the road, we had money to do something with it. But I think that got thrown out. I'm not sure what happened to it.
Yeah, I think it's gone by the wayside, but I think it was only $100 and it was a road inspection fee, is my understanding.
Let's make it $1,000. So it's
No, no, Dave, do you very often catch guys that, you always hear doing your patrols? Do you come along and see Joe Blow excavation, unloading an excavator in their float? Or like, do you see them very often?
Yeah, it happens every year, all the time. So this is an ongoing thing. Obviously, taxpayers' money going into the roadways. We don't want to see it happen, but it happens on a daily basis, especially basically right after we finish the roads. We've seen it in multiple locations. So it's something that should be looked at.
So is it something that any of our staff can, okay, we see you on the road, then they can, phone you or phone Rob to come up and he's actually caught them red-handed sort of thing? Is that, I know Rob, you said it's hard to prove who it does, but a case like that, if they took a picture, would that help us start this ball rolling? And maybe once it gets started, people will pay more attention?
Well, we've done that.
Pictures help, yeah.
Sorry, Rob, but we've done that in the past. I've got calls multiple times and attended and seen contractors there on site while there's issues with the road. And obviously there was damage done to the road, but we don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to that because there's no bylaw in place.
Well, maybe you can talk it amongst the bylaw and you guys, and if you can come up with a resolution that might help us, and if it doesn't, then report back either way, and we can at least we can try.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, I want to go back to this, but does anybody see anything wrong when somebody takes out a building permit? That's when the construction's going to be there. So you take $1,000 and you give it back to them if there's no damage.
Well, I think that's a great idea, or more, or 2,000. What's $2,500 to anybody
Whatever
get?
it takes. Then it's on the owner, and he's going to say, "It's my money, so don't damage the road." I think that's the only way you're ever going to control it, or help to control it. You won't ever control it all. This is a struggle. Got to start somewhere, or keep doing roads and then we get them ruined a year later.
Do you want me to read the resolution, Murray?
Yeah.
Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining roads maintenance activities for July 2025 as information.
Okay, moved by Barry, seconded by Carm. All in favor? Carried. I guess we could do the next one, Skyline Park.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is a follow-up from a discussion we had at last month's meeting regarding a speed bylaw for Skyline Park Road. By default, it is an 80km/h road speed limit. So we're recommending 3 speed signs up there. It's going to be a nominal cost, and the bylaw is attached for your consideration.
Yeah, that's 50 kilometers in, right?
That's 50, yes.
Okay, mover and seconder.
I'll read it first. Be resolved that bylaw 2025-70, being a bylaw to regulate the rate of speed on Skyline Park Road, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Pat. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we do one more. Capital project update. Who's doing that? Rob?
I'll do that. The most notable here is the road resurfacing is complete for 2025. So I'm hoping this time next month we'll have a better update for you on kind of where we stand on the capital projects, but I'm not expecting any big surprises.
Okay. Good. Do we have a resolution on that then?
Be it resolved that council receive this update on the 2025 capital projects as information.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? So, are they coming right at 12?
They are waiting in the background to go, yes.
Well, let's, take 2-minute bathroom break and,
I'll read the resolution to go into close before we take the break, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Be resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 12:02 PM to discuss matters pursuant to section 239 subsection 2 of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to 1. The security of the property of the municipality or local board, which is a cybersecurity assessment. 2. A proposed acquisition of land in the Township of Guilford, which is a road allowance. And 3. A proposed disposition of land in the Township of Guilford, which is an application to purchase part of the original road allowance.
mover and seconder. Well, all in favor? Carry. Okay, there you go. You're good to go. There, okay, we're ready to go? Ready, okay. Okay, Rob, you're up next on the tender.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Before I get started, I just want to note there is one mistake in the background information that council gave pre-approval in July 2025, not 2024. So we were approved last month for this tandem axle purchase. So we received 2 bids, which is not unusual. It's generally these 2 vendors that submit. We are recommending low bid of Winslow Girolami Motors for almost $402,000. Notably, and this is a first for me, both vendors offered a prepayment discount for the cab chassis once it arrives. So if we do exercise that, we don't have to. But if we do that, we could save $12,000 on the cab chassis. We expect it will arrive probably January, February, so it shouldn't be a problem budget-wise. So that's something we'll be recommending when the chassis does arrive. One other thing that is not in the 2026 budget estimate is extended warranty, which we've typically been getting. It runs about $10,000 for a 7-year extended warranty, but I want to do a bit of a deeper dive on that to see how much we're utilizing it, to see if it's worthwhile getting. We don't have to purchase that until we take delivery of the vehicle, which won't be until next year anyways.
Hey, Rob, one thing on the extended warranty, because this is what I do know. You want to look and see if it's extended warranty or it's a service contract, because lots of times it sounds good, but doesn't cover nothing that ever breaks. So when you're doing to see what we've used, just, or maybe when you get the copy of the warranty, show it to me and I'll have a look at it. Because that's one thing they do. The extended warranty usually is lots of stuff that never breaks and none of the stuff that you really can use.
Yeah, when we started getting them, it was primarily for the exhaust systems on them with the regenerations. And I'm not so sure that either we're not utilizing it as much, or maybe they're getting better. I don't know.
No,
but I know they're about 25 grand on the last one we had to replace that didn't have the warranty on it. So if they're not breaking until after the warranty's up, there's not much point in buying it.
Yeah. Yeah, and biggest thing is see what it covers.
Yep.
Okay.
I just had a question. I have a question for Rob.
Okay.
Rob, this is just part of our routine. Every 8 years, something gets, or 9 years gets retired and the next one comes into play, correct? This is
Yeah. We shoot for 8-year turnaround on them, depending on the shape of the trucks. So we're in pretty good shape now. It took us a few years to get here.
Okay.
Rob, we don't have any method of cleaning the salt off them, do we? Do we pressure wash the salt off our tandems?
Generally not, no. We don't use a lot of salt, just whatever's in the sand. So we're running about 3%. We do hose it off from time to time, but generally there's not enough hose to go around, so to speak. We have about 9 trucks running out of that yard.
All right, well, we need to have a discussion of that. Okay, did we have a resolution there, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council award the supply of 1 new tandem axle truck complete with snowplow equipment to Winslow Girolami Motors for $401,978 excluding HST, and that the purchase be included in the mayor's 2026 budget, and that the purchase be funded by General Vehicle Equipment Reserve Fund.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Okay. Tender result for mechanical brushing.
Yeah, thank you for this. So yeah, again, this is part of our routine maintenance. We're doing about 34 kilometers of mechanical brushing this year. We are recommending low bid from Yard Boys Limited for about $91,000 excluding HST, and that's in line with what our budget was.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council award the mechanical brushing along various municipal roads, being RFT 2025-PW-14 to Yard Boys Limited for $91,280.80 excluding HST.
Okay, hazardous and special products.
Oh, I just need a mover and seconder on that one, Murray.
Barry and Carm.
Perfect.
Okay, now. Hazardous and special project.
I think we just need to promote Ashley up to the screen here.
Afternoon, Council. On August 24th, 2021, Dysart executed an agreement with Producer Responsibility Organization, Automotive Materials Stewardship for the collection and processing of designated automotive materials through Bylaw 2021-68. This agreement came into effect on October 1st, 2021. On October 24th, 2023, Bylaw 2023-92 came into effect to authorize the amending of a hazardous and special products services agreement with Automotive Materials Stewardship, Inc., effective January 1st, 2024. In August 2025, the Automotive Materials Stewardship issued a new amending agreement, which comes into effect January 1st, 2026. This amending agreement updates the payment schedule to reflect a minimum payment of $1,500 per calendar year for depot services, a minimum of $500 per year with a rate of $1,275 per tonnage, and a minimum rate of $500 per event with transportation to depot. This agreement has also been amended to state that the collector shall continue to operate at a minimum the number of depots and events operated by the collector 2 years prior to the then current calendar year and provide at a minimum the number of events that were provided by the collector 2 calendar years prior to the then current calendar year. This amending agreement starts January 1st, 2026, and any revenue would be included in the 2026 environmental management budget.
Okay, clear as mud.
Oops, sorry. To turn up my volume.
He didn't have a question, Ashley. You're good.
Okay, thank you.
You're good. No problem. Do you want me to read the resolution, Murray?
Sure.
Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-71, being a bylaw to authorize the amending of a hazardous and special product services agreement with Automotive Materials Stewardship, effective January 1st, 2026, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Always a good one. Okay, Ashley, you're on again.
Okay. In July, the Ministry of Labor visited 4 of the Dysart landfills. They went to West Bay, Conesus Lake Landfill, Harcourt Landfill, and West Guilford Landfill. There were a total of 9 notice of compliances issued. 3 were from West Guilford Landfill. They included unsecured brooms and shovels leaning in the attendant shed, a lack of guardrails measuring a minimum of 91 centimeters along ramps, as well as no workplace violence risk assessment had been completed. Harcourt received 5 notice of compliances for unsecure rakes and shovels, an unmounted fire extinguisher, mold present in the ceiling of the attendant shed, an inadequate heat stress policy, and a lack of guardrails along ramps measuring a minimum of 91 centimeters. 1 notice of compliance was issued for West Bay Landfill for a damaged bin lid that had been provided by Waste Connections that was not in an acceptable condition. While on site, as the Ministry of Labor had conducted 2 visits, an ergonomist arrived for the second visit. They did an assessment on the metal mesh bin lids, and they discovered that between 44.85 to 52 pounds of force were required to lift the lids, with force increasing as they got closer to the hinges. There were concerns noted for musculoskeletal disorders. So we were required to switch our bins to the side door bare bin lids. With these changes, there will be an increase in hauling costs as the capacity has been reduced. It was also identified that staff had not previously received training on traffic management, and a safe operating procedure was updated and provided to staff. Two-way radios were ordered for staff to communicate with. A record of servicing for portable toilets on sites were not posted. The supplier has committed to keeping a record available. It was also noted that there were no needle disposal boxes on site. Staff were provided with needle disposal boxes, and a safe operating procedure was created and distributed to staff. Carbon monoxide detectors were required to be updated as they were past the 10-year mark. We had met with the mayor a few weeks ago, and in order to resolve the shed at Harcourt landfill, we had decided to go with Heritage Creations to replace the existing shed, and we have selected Lock Block to replace any existing guardrails that needed to be replaced.
And that's under this year's budget.
Yes, we will be using the retaining wall budget to move forward with these repairs as we've been issued for them to be done.
Tammy, you have a question?
I just have a question about the Harcourt landfill. Am I to understand that we have to put hydro into it?
It's something that we're looking into getting a quote for, as right now the landfill doesn't have any existing hydro.
So is it something that gets tendered, or what's the procedure?
We've reached out to Hydro One and Sharp Electric.
We're looking for costing at this point. We're not moving ahead with hydro.
You're not looking ahead to hydro?
We're looking at costing it. It won't be happening this year. We won't be able to afford it this year. It'll be a budget implication in 2026, and council can decide to axe it then, or we can move ahead then.
Well, how long are we going to be using that site? Because it's stupid.
Good question.
Spend thousands of dollars and then not have that.
Is it not possible to use another method instead of hydro? Why does it have hydro?
Well, hydro has to do the layout. It's their network.
No. I mean, like, is there another option besides hydro?
Do you mean like solar or something, Tammy?
Sure, or generator. Yeah, any of there's many options, because hydro, gonna need poles. It's gonna be thousands.
It'll be thousands.
Did they say why it needed hydro? Or no?
No, MOL is not saying we need hydro, just because we have a new building there and possible revamp of the site. We're just pricing hydro into it now, just so we know if you want to move forward with it, then we could get hydro to the site.
Okay, so it's an option at this point.
Yeah, we're kicking tires.
Okay.
You can add other options then as well if you're pricing to present to us.
Absolutely.
Sure. I would suggest though that you might want to watch with generators and solar panels, because they could get stolen or damaged.
They indicate how they wanted the shovels and the brooms secured up against the building so
Yeah,
they wouldn't slide over.
That's a killer, that is.
I don't think we should put them on the ground, because the last time I stepped on a rake, it wasn't very fun, but I can't believe the report I'm seeing. But anyway, it sounds like a make work project rather than a genuine safety maneuver, but I know that's not in your corner. Anyway.
Quite a report.
I just want to clarify too, and Ashley, you do say it in your report, but we don't accept needles. Like, we're not a needle disposal site. That's not appropriate, but I guess it was in case one is discovered in a garbage bag, right? That's what it's for.
Or are they thinking for
Yes.
staff, perhaps?
They're thinking if we are to find one on site, how do we safely dispose of it?
Yeah. I just don't want the public to think, oh, I can drop my needles off at the landfill now because now they have needle boxes. We're not an appropriate disposal site for those, so.
Thank you, Mallory.
No problem.
I just have another quick one. So was Heritage Creations, was that tendered or was it just given?
We received 3 quotes. So I had one from Heritage Creations. We looked into C-Cans, and then there was one from a local vendor as well. We had picked Heritage Creations as they came in with the lowest quote.
So it was put out to tender.
Uh,
Is that what you're saying?
Quotations, yeah.
Okay,
Do you want me to read the resolution?
yeah, I'm just trying to think. So did any of the local stores get a bid on this, or they didn't see it, I guess?
Yeah, I had one. I have to pull up his name, sorry. Believe it's Angelo off the top of my head.
Anyway,
Where was it advertised?
Again, they were informal quotations. Time was of the essence because we were under ministry orders and we're a 3-week turnaround to get this building in place.
so you have to get pre-built sheds in. Okay. Okay, resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that council receive this report for informational purposes regarding the recent inspection of the 4 Dysart All landfills by the Ministry of Labor.
Move in second. Carmen, Nancy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Finance, check summary provided. Any questions on it?
I can read the resolution.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the July 2025 check summary.
Mover and seconder. Carmen, Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, bylaw to hire somebody we've never laid eyes on. Hardly.
Yeah. I think you've laid eyes on them.
I was thought not yet.
Okay, so I'll read that. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-68, being a bylaw to appoint a treasurer, Braden Robinson, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder, Pat and Nancy, all in favor? The leap of faith. Carried. Planning and land information. Returning file. Yeah. Okay, we got Jeff and Chris again.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Jeff. You're doing the first one?
Chris is going to take the first 3, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you. So this is the returning file that council heard this morning. Some discussion took place, and if council has any questions, other than that, council recommended that the application be approved.
Okay. Resolution?
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2025-05, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Pop and Art, which consists of part lot 6, concession 11 in the township of Dudley, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1 zone to rural type 1-17 exception zone, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Move in second. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Next.
The next one, council also heard this morning, and unless council has any comments or questions, the recommendation was to approve the application.
Okay, resolution?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-72, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Anderson, which consists of part lot 15, concession 10, lot 2, plan 395 in the geographic township of Harborne, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone of the subject property from open space zone to waterfront residential type 3 zone, be read a first, second, third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Move in second. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Next.
Thank you. And this is for the application for zoning bylaw, which was heard this morning as well. And there was no comments or concerns, and council recommended that the application be approved.
Okay, resolution?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-73, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for lands of Jones and Bennett Jones, which consists of part lots 21 and 22, concession 7 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart, which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1 zone to waterfront residential type 4 zone, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carmen Malt, all in favor? Carried. Next.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So item D are bylaws to close and convey a shore road allowance adjacent to the lands of Pryor and Thurston on Kinesis Lake. The notice and circulation requirements are complete and no comments were received. Staff recommend approval of both bylaws.
Mover and seconder.
I'll read it. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-74, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of lot 6, concession 3 in the geographic township of Havelock, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, the corporate seal attached thereto. And further be it resolved that bylaw 2025-75, which is a bylaw to deem lot 81, registered plan 479 in the township of Havelock, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purposes of section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed and signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 81 on registered plan 479 to merge with the shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2025-74.
Seconder. Carmen, Tammy, all in favor? Carried.
You ready for the next item?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the next item is a bylaw to close and convey various road allowances adjacent to the lands of Marinescu and Jones on Redstone Lake. We have yet to receive a registered plan, so we can't complete the bylaw. Therefore, staff are recommending the bylaw be deferred until we receive that survey.
Okay. Resolution then?
Be it resolved that council defer bylaw 2025-76 for application L07-RO-2022-007 until a registered survey is received.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Matt, all in favor? Carried. Next.
Yes, so the next item is a new application from Miss Yee and Mr. Clatney, who have made application to purchase their shore road allowance in front of their property on Kinesis Lake. They wish to obtain a building permit for the boathouse, which is located on the shore road allowance. The boathouse was first assessed in 1972, and its location is recognized by the official plan. However, there are a couple conditions that staff are recommending on this one with regards to a shed that's within the water setback and the shoreline vegetation. Staff are recommending that be brought into compliance with municipal policy. Subject to any questions from council, staff recommend council provide approval to process the application.
Okay. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council approves for processing an application L07-RO-2025-14 and C01-DE-2025-009 by, is it Catney or Clatney? It's Clatney, right? I'm just going to add that into there. 1 second. By Clatney and Yee to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Kinesis Lake in front of their property at part lot 8, concession 2, in the geographic township of Havelock. The shoreline buffer shall be repaired to a natural state. These lands are declared surplus. And further, that council directs the bylaw enforcement department to review the location of the woodshed within the minimum water setback.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Tammy. All in favor? Next.
Item G is an application from Mr. and Mrs. Lewis, who have made application to purchase their shore road allowance in front of their property on Drag Lake. Staff have no concerns and recommend approval to process the application.
Okay, resolution.
Okay. Be it resolved that council approves for processing application L07-RO-2025-15 for the lands of Lewis. to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Drag Lake in front of their property in Lot 3, Concession 6 in the geographic township of Dudley. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay. Mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go right down the list here. Harcourt, anything?
Nope, they haven't had a meeting.
Okay. West Guilford?
No, nothing, Murray.
Okay, Rails End?
Rails End had their art and craft festival. They had to put a kind of a panic call out for help with the wind, and community really rallied for that, and everyone helped out with that. So they did have a good turnout. They've got more exhibitions going on, and just there's lots of activity there. If you haven't been, it's a nice place to go and look. They've got some good exhibitions going on and lots of gift stuff.
There you go. Resolution? No?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the August 2025 Rails and Gallery and Art Center report.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. PIA, Pat?
Murray, I haven't been to the last meeting, but the Midnight Madness was another great success again a while back there. But anyways, got another meeting coming up, so we'll report more then.
Good. Okay.
And nothing to report for Harvest Halliburton.
Walt, have you? Does that place ever meet? Guess not. Tammy, Upper
No.
Trent?
No.
Okay. Glebe Park.
I can read the resolution to acknowledge receipt of the minutes if that works.
Yep.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 Glebe Park and Museum Committee as information.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Barry? So we've already gone into closed. There's nothing coming out of closed?
No.
Okay, so any notices of motion? That's dangerous, these notices of motion. Confirming bylaw?
Sure. Sorry, I got a lot of paper. And I am unmuted. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-77, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on August 26, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Move and seconder. Pat and Tammy, all in favor? Now the adjournment.
All right. Be it resolved that council adjourned its regular meeting held on August 26, 2025 at 2:11 p.m.
Mover and seconder, Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carried.
Thank you.